The following is an exclusive high-definition presentation of the UFL on HDNet.
You want to send out the right message. And the message for us this week is that we can play this game at a high level, we can play this game disciplined, and we can dominate.
We're going to work hard, we're going to make plays, we're going to have fun.
One of our country's most famous landmarks, the Golden Gate Bridge, and coming around the bay to AT&T Park, home of the San Francisco Giants. Tonight, home as well to the new team in the United Football League, the California Redwoods, as they open their home season hosting the New York Sentinels. Second game of the season for both. Both teams come in looking for their first victory. Hello, everyone. I'm Kenny Rice, along with Paul McGuire. Glad that you could be with us for the pregame show live here on HDNet, about 30 minutes away from kickoff. Paul, these are two teams. They had tough openers. They got big leads. They lost big leads. They come in here probably needing to prove something to themselves as well as to their opponents.
Well, maybe the coaches don't totally agree, but I really think this is a must game because you have to take into consideration they only play 7 games. If they lose the game tonight, either one of these teams, they're 2 behind the leaders, Florida. And it's just too hard to make up in a 7-game schedule. So this game truly is important to both of these teams.
They come in with some changes, some big changes that we're going to talk about in just a moment. One thing stays the same here, though. Our intrepid sideline reporters, Ron Kruk and Natalie Taylor, back on the sideline again. And this all-access, I've never seen anything like it, Paul, that we saw last week in Florida.
I love it. You know, when you get a chance to get up close and personal with these guys, it's beautiful.
And these guys are doing it for us again tonight. Ron, you were actually part of a play call almost last week.
That is true, Kenny. The UFL told us that they were going to grant us all access here on the sidelines. We could even interview the coaches and the players during the game. I was a little skeptical until I approached Sentinel head coach Ted Cottrell before a big play in the first half of last week's game. 4th and 1, you going for it?
We'll see. But I think here you can expect us. We're going to try to get them off sides, and if they don't fall for that, we'll kick the field goal.
Very good. Thank you, Coach. And that's exactly what they did. It was amazing. That had to be the first time that a head coach has ever told a reporter during a game what they were going to do on 4th down. Now let's go over to the California sideline and talk with Natalie Taylor. Nat?
Ron, you want to talk about firsts? How about going inside the locker room at half to find out what the coach is telling his team? Well, that's exactly what we did last week with Coach Haslett in Florida.
Got to be able to run the ball. Got to be able to run the ball. Got to punch a hole in the defense. Get it going downhill.
And that's not going to be the only time you're going to see that, because we're going to continue to bring you that behind-the-scenes coverage tonight, because we're going to go in the locker room with Coach Green. Kenny, back up to you.
Natalie, and by the way, Ted Cottrell's play did not work last week. They did not draw their team offside. Instead, they got to delay a game. But at least we got to hear that was the intention.
Exactly.
I have a feeling tonight, too, if we go in the locker room at halftime, we'll hear from Dennis Green either the praise or maybe a few more things said if the passing game's not working, because he has made the first big change of the season. Mike McMahon is now the starting quarterback, replacing Shane Boyd after only 1 game. He's pulled the plug and made a change.
And that's okay. It's the second game of the season. Again, remember, they only play 7 games. Boyd couldn't move the ball. They didn't move the ball on the ground last week. They didn't move the ball in the air. And he's a little bit frustrated. But they're going to play New York tonight. In New York, these two teams are pretty similar. They don't have that many experienced pros on their football team. So what a great time, I think, for Dennis Green to say, you know what? Let me make a change. Let me find out if Mike McMahon can actually move this ball club. He can always go back to Boyd, but I think it's time to see what you have, and he really doesn't know what he has.
And McMahon, maybe he's trying to figure it out too. 2007 in the Canadian Football League was the last time that he has played in a game.
A little rusty, you think?
Possibly. We'll see if he's able to shake that off. As Paul was talking about, there is urgency. 7 games into the season, that's it. That's the schedule to see who goes to the championship. Florida in charge. We'll show you how they've gotten to 2-0 right now. But again, the winner of tonight's game, just a game out, of course, the loser in that dreaded 0-2 spot. 8 changes made this week on the roster of California. McMahon already on the team. He moves into the starting lineup. As you can see, he was with the Argonauts of Toronto the last time he actually played in a regular game. But of the 8 brought in, 3 are wide receivers. He also brought in a couple of defensive backs, and one of those not only coming in, but Ray Bass will start tonight for California.
That isn't amazing. Now, a week ago, Teddy Cottrell, they had a tryout camp, and he finds 2 defensive backs that end up starting in the tryout camp after they'd already been in camp for 3 weeks. So this is kind of a change for Dennis Green. But again, he found himself a starter in the defensive secondary.
He's also brought in a couple of guys. We expect to see them tonight. Doug Gabriel, Glenn Holt. They both have NFL experience at receivers. How much they'll play, we're not sure. And maybe it depends on how McMahon's going as well.
Yeah, you heard that little thing with Dennis Green last week. We got to run the ball. We got to run the ball. We can't win unless we run the ball. It's been proven in the first couple of weeks of this league. You have to be able to run the ball in order to throw it.
Natalie is standing by now and talked with Dennis Green earlier today. And what's the feel right now for the California Redwoods as they open the season at home, Natalie?
Well, I think everybody is excited to be here, and you were talking about how they changed their passing game upside down. So we had to talk to Coach Green to talk about moving up, starting a new quarterback, and also those new wide receivers. But we talked to him about plenty more. Take a look.
Well, we just have to have a passing game that's real successful, real explosive. I think we brought in 3 new receivers, and I think along with those new receivers, we decided to make a change at that quarterback too. So Mike McMahon has a lot of experience in the National Football League. He's been a starter. I think he was a little bit at a disadvantage because he had not been in this system before, and therefore he had to try to get it very quickly. I think he just needed probably another week, and he's taken advantage of that extra week of work, and so I think he's ready to do a good job as a quarterback of our offense. 3 out of the 5 receivers are brand new, and I just think we're a little bit too young. We were concerned about it coming out of training camp. We just didn't have enough experience at the receiving core.
All this talk about offense, overall, what can fans expect to see from your team tonight?
Well, I think the big thing, we're a fast defense. This will be a fast track. It's a beautiful field that we're playing on. It hasn't had a lot of big football players running around. It's had a lot of small baseball players on it. So it really should be a fast track, and we're excited about that. I think hopefully we can get there quickly, cause some turnovers. What they didn't see a lot of last week is just Corey Ross only played the first half. He was the leading rusher at the time. We had a lead at the time. He did not play, I think, 1 play in the third quarter because of cramps. I think if Corey goes the whole game for us, I think with 20 carries, he'll get at least 100 yards, and I think that'll help us to be in position to win.
And you mentioned having a young team. Last week, one of your comments was talking about how some of the young guys didn't understand the urgency of play. That might have had a big part of the result last time. Only 7 games in this series. How important is it tonight? How urgent is it to get a win?
Oh, it's very urgent. I mean, I think we saw that last week against Las Vegas. I mean, we held a 14-3 lead. All we had to do was get 1 first down and go in at halftime at 14-3, and instead we gave them those extra points. Las Vegas we are the youngest team in the division. That's fine. But I think there's a sense of urgency that comes with what you have to be. And, the guys got paid yesterday. I think they have a better understanding of being what a pro football player is all about, and hopefully they show up tonight.
I'm glad they got paid.
When we all get that first check, it says a lot. What was it like when you got that first AFL check back with the Chargers?
I was making $8,000. There wasn't much in it. I can tell you that right now.
We assume it's a little more for these guys, but, maybe that does kind of reinforce things. So you get that check, you've been through it, you got your second game coming up, solidifies a few things.
Yeah, it does, and he's changing to Mike McMahon, he said himself, we have a young football team, and Mike is a young player. We're going to let him play a little bit. But what I think they're really going to do with him is little short stuff. Give him some confidence. Give the team some confidence that they can move the ball. You don't have to go deep. Just move the chains.
And now let's check in with the man who also got a check this week, we understand, Ron Kruk. Ron, how do things look for New York as they go on the road again for the second time this season?
Well, guys, Ted Cottrell's New York Sentinels learned a tough lesson last week. It's not how you start, but how you finish. New York was 1 yard away from taking a commanding 17-0 lead when a fumble on the goal line changed everything. Cottrell spoke about putting that loss behind them and his quarterback, Quinn Gray.
Right away, Ron, that's one of the things that we harped on, getting that out of our system. And I know it was tough also because they had such momentum. Like you mentioned, we're up 10-0, about to go up 17-0. Then all of a sudden, the bubble burst, and all right, and it seemed like we tried to get it back, but we just couldn't regain the momentum. And we had a couple opportunities too, but we just didn't capitalize on it. So we put that behind us as quickly as we could, and that was one of the things that we really worked hard to do, and get these guys going, because they're a pretty young team, so we can't let those things dwell. You know, we have another game coming up, a pretty good, decent opponent who they got some weapons, so we had to good solid defense, so we had to get our guys going.
Well, you have to put it behind you because it's a quick season.
Mm-hmm.
0-1, is this a must-win situation for New York?
No, it's just a win situation. Because hey, Rod, I never heard of must wins and must loses. He must lose this game, so you know, we got to go out and win this, and that's what we're gonna try to do. And like I said, put this behind us, and the guys give good effort. They had a good week of work, solid practices, so we're ready to go.
If Quinn struggles this week, is that something, you've got a very capable backup behind him, is that something you might think about doing?
No, I'm not thinking about it because he's the guy, you know, and Quinn's our leader, and you know, if he's struggling a little bit, he's got to be able to play through it because that's what we're resting our fortunes on. He is the man. I don't want to have any those quarterback controversies like some people have. He knows it. Engel knows he's the backup, and then if something happens to Quinn, then we'll put him. But Quinn's going to he's our man.
It's a good offensive football. You know, Kenny, let me reiterate about something we said last week that they're, you know, they were in camp for 3 weeks, okay, and while they were in camp for 3 weeks, they didn't hit. Mm-hmm. So last week's game was the first time they really hit someone. And when you have a young football team like both of these coaches have, you got to eliminate mistakes. Tofield's into the end zone for a touchdown. They go up 17-0. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. He fumbles the ball, and the game turned around, and there was just no way to get it back.
Indeed it did, and probably not a coincidence. These are the two youngest teams in the league. They're both 0-1. LeBrandon Tofield not expected to play tonight. He has a shoulder injury. Had nothing to do with his performance last week. His coach is certainly not giving up, but he is out of action because of a shoulder injury tonight. So a key player will be on the sideline, not on the field for New York. And we'll see how that plays out as they try to establish their running game. Meanwhile, when we come back, we'll take a look at the teams that are the two best in the league. It was a showdown in the desert, Las Vegas, playing host to Florida. Highlights when we come back to San Francisco.
Welcome back to the UFL on HDNet.
It's a picture-perfect evening here in the Bay Area, 64 degrees right now as we're nearing kickoff between California and New York. It is the home opener for the Redwoods. Both these teams in action last week against Florida and against Las Vegas, respectively. And, Paul, as we take a look at those two teams last week, they were just so impressive. There was a lot of anticipation about when they would first meet earlier this week.
And I think at the end of that game, they were trying to kind of look at who is the strongest team. And I think Florida proved it. They have got everything going for them. Besides, they've got a lot of experience on that football team.
And this is the way it looked at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas as the Locos played host to the Tuskers in a game that most people thought, going in at least, would be considered just about even. And amazingly, both teams take the field. They always seem to run right on the same path to get out there. Jim Fossil taking on Jim Haslett. And Brooks Bollinger, if there's an MVP of the league right at this moment, there's the guy. He completed his first 11 passes. Here he hits Keith Heinrich as tight end. Heinrich last week was out with injury. Back strong this week. Pulls this one in from 21 yards. One play later, Bollinger goes to Michael Pittman out of the backfield to pick up 20. This guy could not miss. And then play action, touchdown to Frank Murphy. 7-0 Florida in the first. After 3 field goals by Florida, they keep it coming. Chad Gesner brings us in 12 yards out. And it's Florida rolling along 22-0 in the third quarter.
And then you see Bollinger, after he hit 4 receivers that you showed him, watch him now. He hits Tay Biddle. Tay Biddle in this game catches 7 passes for 107 yards, a touchdown. But once he locked in on his favorite target, which is number 15, Tay Biddle, he stayed with it. And first of all, let's give a lot of credit to this offensive line, because Bollinger had a long time to throw the football. And once you get the ball in Tay Biddle's hands, you see the speed that this young man has. Here's a touchdown throw to Biddle. We're going to see it again. He just beats the corner cleanly. He runs a little out and up, and when Bollinger sees him, boom, there's the out, there goes the up, and there's Biddle in the end zone. Touchdown.
Last week, Jim Fossil's team was behind, but they were able to come back. But not this time around because of the defense, Paul. Florida's defense.
Yeah, and one thing about this defense of Florida, they just kept coming after J.P. Lossman. And you're going to see Lossman get sacked 5 times. And the thing about this, 4 of those sacks, I really believe, are Lossman's fault. I know the offensive line broke down a little bit, Kenny, but Lossman has the opportunity in this league to throw the ball away anytime that he wants to, and he's not going to get penalized for it. He didn't. That time he threw the ball away into Florida hands.
Remember in their first game, the Locos fell behind double figures to California. Jim Fossil was able to rally them. Here they're trying again. Dede Dorsey blocks the Sauerbrunn punt. A safety results. Then Lossman comes back 11 yards to Sammy Parker. 2-point conversion failed, 29-8. In the fourth quarter, would this be the biggest comeback in the short history of the UFL as Sammy Parker hauls us in? Well, no. It was tough coming back against a team as good as Florida. Final score, Florida 29-15 over Las Vegas. And we take a look at some of the numbers, including Bollinger. 24 of 32 for 310 yards in those 3 touchdown passes. And, Paul, they got the running game going in Florida.
You know, isn't that the secret? Well, with the first game that we did, we just said at halftime that, you know, the team that can run the ball the best is going to be the team that wins the football game. And I think in this league, the way it is now, is a running game is so important to give these quarterbacks time to throw the ball.
Upcoming games you can see on Versus next week, the Redwoods taking on the Tuskers. And then here on HDNet, October 30th, the return match between Las Vegas and Florida. Will kick it off at 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, history being made this year, the first year for the United Football League. And, Paul, something we've never seen will happen tonight. Pro history being made by a lady named Terry Valenti.
Isn't that kind of neat to have a female, what is he, head linesman?
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
And Ron Kruk recently caught up with the Palo Alto, California native as she just drives up the road to make her pro debut.
Terry, you've refereed high school and college games, and now you've made it to the pros. What does it mean to you to be the first female official to work a professional football game?
Well, it's very exciting, and it means a lot to me. It's just a way to get better and improve my game by doing the next level up. So I'm just trying to soak it all in and make the most of it.
Well, you've been refereeing for over 10 years now. What made you want to become a referee?
Well, I just love the sport of football, and I think it's a really exciting game full of strategy and emotion, and I just enjoy being out here on the field.
So when you came home and told your husband and 5 boys, I'm going to be a referee for the UFL, what was their reaction?
They were excited. They were just elated and very supportive about the whole thing, and just couldn't be happier for me.
Historically, refereeing football games has been a man's world. What's been the biggest challenge of being a female official?
I think the biggest challenge is just making everybody else comfortable with the idea and having me out here, from the officials to the coaches. And the players actually are pretty receptive right off the bat, but they're younger. And I think just acclimating to it and making sure everyone's comfortable with me out there and not standing out. That's been the hardest part.
I find it interesting that you will be working as the head linesman. Do we need to come up with a new term for that? Maybe linesperson?
Not on my account, not by any stretch. It's always been kind of a running joke since I started officiating that the one position on the field that I get tasked with doing has man in the title, but you don't have to change it on my account.
We'll check in on her later as history is made. When we come back, we'll check in with the players from California and New York. We're just about 10 minutes away from the kickoff, the United Football League action, coming to the Bay Area for the first time here on HD Nets. Back at San Francisco on your left, Quinn Gray will make his second start for New York. Mike McMahon replacing Shane Boyd, getting his first start in 2 years tonight, his first one in the UFL for the homestanding California Redwoods. And now as we get just a few minutes before the start of this, some pressure perhaps on McMahon, perhaps on Gray as well. Somebody's got to get a win tonight for their team.
Yeah, Gray knows that Teddy Cottrell said it. He knows that he is their quarterback, and he's going to be their quarterback. And Teddy Cottrell is going to give him enough time to develop, to learn this system, and show what he can do. On the other hand, you got Michael that McMahon, and I'm going to tell you what, I feel the pressure is on him a little bit because he's got to prove something in order to stay in the ball game.
Let's check in now with those Redwoods. Here's what California had to say about tonight's game.
He wants us to play fast. He wants to play hard. And if guys are out there dogging and being lazy, he's not playing. So everybody's, on the edge like, I got to play this week, because you can be gone. Coach Green don't play.
This game's not easy. You got to be ready. You got to have thick skin. And you got to know that times are going to get hard. And when you're going through the adversity, you got to just continue to focus on what you got to do. Just keep on working hard.
That's what professional football is. It is a job, and you got to treat it that way, and you got to be prepared every day. And if you're not prepared, they'll replace you and put somebody else in. So it just makes you work that much harder. In my case, being able to start, it's an opportunity, and you don't want to give that opportunity back up. So I'm just trying to make the most of it.
We feel very comfortable with our situation, and we've had a great week of practice, and we're just excited to get out and play some more football.
Last week we got ahead early, and we got a little content with ourselves, but we learned from that. This whole week of practice, we really got after it, and now we're ready to play some ball. We know what we got to do. We got to start winning, so it's going to start tonight.
We need to go out and win. It's almost like it's starting to end of November, December for NFL teams where it's crunch time and you gotta make a run and get some wins, because there's no playoff games here. It's just best record goes to championship, and we all know that. So we know that we need to come out and get a win tonight.
Kenny, there's pressure on this entire football team. What have you ever heard of after one game? They change quarterbacks, bring the backup guy in, and bring in 8 new players. Joe West, a wide receiver you heard from, he's the only wide receiver remaining after the first week. There's pressure on this entire team. Either play or go home.
That's the way it is for them. New York, what's going to happen with them? They haven't made any big changes except they have Tofield, as we told you, out of their lineup because of an injury at running back. Here's what they had to say as they're back on the road again in this, their second game.
This week is just about really being on the details. It's about keeping it simple. We're running simple defenses. We're doing simple things. We're not doing a lot of things. But the things that we are told to do, the schemes that we are told to run, is to be run. You got to be in the right place at the right time as a professional. And then you got to make plays. And that's what makes you exceptional.
We had a great week of practice this week. Preparation went very well. And yesterday was probably, I think, one of the most spirited attention to detail practices that we've had thus far. So, we're expecting great things this week, and hopefully we can go out and execute like we did yesterday in practice.
We just feel like if we execute our plays and handle everything that we can handle, we feel like the game will take care of itself. Fundamentally, we need to be sound, take care of the ball, no turnovers, and last, like I said, execute, and I think we'll be fine.
All we have to do is just take care of our assignments, align and assign, and just play football what we do best. We train hard. We know we're ready for this. Like I said, it's not about the California team. We know they're going to come with it, But we understand that if we just play our best football, we practice, and we, play 100% to the ball every time, we'll be okay.
You want to send out the right message. And the message for us this week is that we can play this game at a high level, we can play this game disciplined, and we can dominate.
Oh, we definitely have something to prove, and we need to prove that we need to be able to go all 4 quarters. That's just bottom line. We need to be able to go all 4 quarters. It's not a halftime. It's not a 30-minute, game. We need to show everybody that we can go a whole 60 minutes.
The talk is over. It's time to play. Shall we stay around?
I am. I'm going to tell you what. This is going to be exciting because you have 2 teams that are evenly matched.
Something has to give. Both teams looking for their first victory. We'll kick it off here live on HDNet when we come back to San Francisco. The Redwoods hosting the Sentinels. United Football League action on HDNet.
The following is an exclusive high-definition presentation of the UFL on HDNet.
You want to send out the right message. And the message for us this week is that we can play this game at a high level, we can play this game disciplined, and we can dominate.
We're going to work hard. We're going to make plays. We're going to have fun.
Welcome to the city. Its allure has stolen hearts over the years, and tonight 2 football teams are here to try to recapture their hearts. The California Redwoods and the New York Sentinels from AT&T Park here in San Francisco. United Football League action live on HDNet. Good evening, everyone. Kenny Rice and Paul McGuire. If you look back at their first game, it's almost spot on, not perfect. Both teams had double-figure leads. They lose the leads. They wind up both getting blown out. So coming in, it's a huge game for New York and for California, and Dennis Green is wasting no time, Paul. He has made a big change at quarterback. Mike McMahon comes in replacing Shane Boyd.
And you would think that all the pressure would be on Mike McMahon of California. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think so. I think it's on the defense, because the defense, you got to understand something. They have not seen anything on this guy. They didn't find out until today that the change was made. The last time that Mike McMahon played was in Toronto in 2007. So they have no film on him. They have no idea what his snap count's going to be. They have no idea about the fluctuation in his voice. I think they're going to be a little bit tentative at the beginning. Then they'll come after him.
We're taking a look down at his stats, and they're hard to find. And I'm sure that's the way for the team as well. One thing that both of them know is they're 0-1. And when you only have 7 regular season games, the second game becomes huge. One team, Florida, unbeaten. The winner of this will be only a game out, and just as important, the loser of this game goes to 0-2 with 5 games remaining.
I love the fact that Teddy Cottrell says there's no such thing as a must-win or a must-loss. Well, let me tell you something. How about this? You better win, and you better not lose. You need this game badly.
And certainly that's the way California is approaching this. In addition to McMahon, who is starting, they have also made wholesale changes this week. They brought in 8 new players. 1 of them will start in the secondary. 2 of them we expect to see play several snaps tonight at wide receiver. They're getting serious quick.
Yeah, isn't it kind of amazing, though, when you look at that whole roster, and they only played 1 game. But all the receivers are gone except Joe West. He's the only wide receiver that Denny Green kept. He took and brought in 8 new guys after the first week and changed the quarterback. You better win or you're gone.
So while California has spent most of the week introducing themselves to each other, they're also getting ready to play some football. 2 people that we introduce you to with pride once again, our sideline reporters, Natalie Taylor and Ron Kruk will be patrolling the sideline. Ron, you're with New York. You were with them last week. What's going on with New York? We've talked about all the changes for California.
Well, thank you, Kenny. After rushing for only a total of 102 yards last week, New York quarterback Quinn Gray said, They must establish a running game tonight. To accomplish that goal, well, that just got much more difficult. Leading rusher LeBrandon Tofield is dressed, but he will not play tonight due to a shoulder injury. New York will look to Wake Forest all-time leading rusher Chris Barclay to replace Tofield. Also expected to see some action in the backfield tonight is Joe Rubin and Tyrone Gross. To talk about a key matchup in tonight's game, we go over to the California sideline and Natalie Taylor. Nat?
Ron, not just a matchup. We're talking the key matchup tonight, and that's New York's Simeon Rice taking on California's left tackle Tyler Llewellyn. Today when we were talking with Coach Green, Tyler walked into the room. Coach Green looked at him and said, "Hey Tyler, what's your role tonight? Why are you here?" Tyler, caught a little off guard, said, "I don't know, Coach. Why is that?" Coach Green looked at him and said, "You are to block Simeon Rice at all costs." I don't know about you, Kenny, but that's some pressure.
That's a little bit of pressure. You know, we could all sit up here from this distance and say, block Simeon Rice from this distance.
Yeah, and it's, you know, last week, we knew he was going to do something. He had a sack. He didn't play extremely well, but he did have a sack, and that's what this team needs. They need to get some turnovers.
We'll see if these teams are ready to recapture their heart, break that one-game losing streak. We'll have the kickoff live when we come back. California and New York on HDNet.
Right now at Men's Warehouse, you'll find a great selection of fall designer suits on sale. And when you buy any suit,
this
.com. This is the UFL on HDNet.
Gorgeous night. This is what the Chamber of Commerce loves to show you. Come to San Francisco, come to AT&T Park, and in this case, watch pro football as the California Redwoods get ready to play their first home game in the United Football League, playing the New York Sentinels. The Sentinels won the toss. They have elected to receive, and kicking things off will be Parker Douglas from South Dakota State, and standing back is Chris Barclay, who we will see in the starting backfield tonight because of the injury to Tofield. Also back with him is Tyrone Gross, the return man at the moment for New York. Kick is up, drifting over towards the side, and the game is underway. Barkley at the 10, up to the 20, where he slides down right there, and that's where they will start. Go, 15 yards on the return as Quinn Gray comes out. You see the numbers on Gray. He had a beautiful start to the game last week, leading them on an opening scoring drive, 2 big passes to Crefonzo Thorpe, and then after that, not much.
Well, and it's really hard for young teams to recover. They made a mistake going in for, going in for a touchdown, and they never could recover.
Charles Ali supposed to be in the backfield tonight. The handoff is given over on the right side, and they will start to try to see if they can keep it on the ground and get something established there, which they were not able to do last week. We look across the front line. Again, it's a rather inexperienced front line. Harvey at center has been around a little bit, played in the arena football. Thompson has been getting better. We take a look at Quinn Gray and the guys he throws to. Thorpe has a touchdown reception. Jen had a couple of big catches. Ali will share time with Sapp in the backfield, and then Barkley, who had a decent game last week at running back when he was called upon. And on second down, play action, throwing down the sideline and overthrowing Steve Sanders, the intended receiver, and moving with him step for step was Marville Underwood in the secondary for California. And you can see here the way this is set up is we're on a baseball field. It's running from left field to home plate. We take a look at the defensive line here. We talked about some of the inexperience. Jason Stewart does have experience in the NFL, and Jason Parker has been playing well as of late. Thomas is the man that sticks out there. He played with the Vikings, briefly with the 49ers. Bass just into the lineup, and he is in the starting lineup, one of 8 guys picked up this week. And throwing it on third down, incomplete, going once again for Sanders. So a great start last week, 3 and out. That's Robert Herbert in on the coverage, and Herbert is one of the guys that Green raves about. We'll talk more about him in the secondary tonight, and they will have to kick it away.
That was not very impressive by Quinn Gray. I mean, on second down, he had a receiver, Steve Sanders, wide open downfield, and he couldn't hit him. And that ball was so high on that last pass, there's no one could have caught it.
Kicking it away is Aaron Horn, the new kicker for New York. B.J. Sam steps back, watches it bounce, takes it on the 32, and gets about a yard and is brought down almost on the spot. And the man that gets in there first is the receiver, Ryan Hogue, number 7, to make the tackle. So after 3 and out, we get our first look at Mike McMahon out of Rutgers. He was the first quarterback ever drafted off a Rutgers team to the NFL, back with the Lions in 01.
And just remember now, they had 3 weeks of practice, which they never hit anybody. They had 1 game, which was last week, and he did not play in that game, Mike McMahon. So now this is his first start, really, since 2007.
And he's introduced right away to the center, Mike Mabry, and his first pass, it's a completion to Doug Gabriel out in the flat. He moves up across the 40, and there he is met and brought down by Alfred Frencher. And we set the lineups for you. Look at that offensive line. We heard about Llewellyn and the big challenge that he has tonight going up against Rice. Edwards, a starter in the past with the Bears. Todd Williams played some with the Titans. And a lot of guys will be seen out there. We don't know all the guys that are going to be coming in and out. Laurie, we know, will be at tight end. Gabriel did get the start tonight. West is also in the lineup. And again, throwing it out in the flat, trying to set up a screen over there. That is Sonny Shackelford taking it in, and he is brought down almost immediately by Paul Pratt. And setting the defense now. A young defense with, of course, the exception of Simeon Rice. And Save has played well at times. At linebacker, Nathan Williams is tied for the league, for the team lead in tackles. He was impressive and very active in the first game. Paul Pratt, we've already seen him on a tackle. He had an interception. He and Williams had good first games. And on second down, a carry and a pickup of 3 yards on the play, and that is Corey Ross.
You know, you just kind of like the starting series for McMahon. Dennis Green didn't ask him to do anything. He threw 2 screens on the outside, quick slip screens on the outside. And then it's 3rd and 2. What do? They run the ball. The one thing that Dennis Green kept saying and harping on these guys last week and all this week, you've got to be able to run the ball to keep the drive going.
Abadi and Ross in the backfield. Pitch goes to Ross going around the left side. Gets close to midfield, and there he's brought down. And Save makes the hit. Save, one of those guys, kind of typical. He's played some, and he came into the NFL in some camps. Then he went to Europe. Then he went to arena football, and the Colorado State player, you know, still with some hope out there and finding his niche here, he hopes, for Ted Cottrell's defense.
And the whole thing about these guys, we've got an injured player for New York on the field. You know, the thing about these guys that the coaches are looking for and they need to get, and that's consistency. That's something that they didn't have. This is Paul Pratt that's down, number 37. He was the young man that in a tryout camp over a week ago not only made the football team, he along with Darren Williams, they ended up starting last week for Teddy Cottrell. This is a pretty good football player now.
And Pratt had the first interception in UFL history. He ran it back 27 yards. We were talking last night, Paul, to Teddy Cottrell, and he said, I wish he'd taken it 1 more yard and gotten that touchdown. Instead, he set it up at the 1, and, of course, that's when everything unraveled after the fumble. As you see, a little bit about Paul Pratt from Los Angeles. He actually flew out about 5 weeks ago, and he was trying out for the Florida team. That didn't work. He went back to L.A. Then he came back and tried out, and voila, here he is in the starting lineup for New York.
And understand that both of those teams work out together in Orlando, so he had to go L.A., Orlando, back to L.A., back to Orlando.
2nd and 10, ball at the 49 of California. And again, they flip out the screen, and it's complete to Shackelford. Shackelford picks up about 4, and he is brought down. And moving in to make the nice tackle there is Tony Tiller, number 25, a recent addition to the team.
Well, look at how far off Tony Tiller was, though. And you're not going to be able to make that play close. The one thing that Tony Tiller did, though, is make the tackle. You just have to be sure that you make the tackle and don't let him get going down the sideline. But he held it to a 5 or 6 yard gain.
And Tiller, who is just one of the new guys with the team, he just joined the club last week. It is 3rd and 6 at the 46. Play action. McMahon has some time. Now pressure on. He's going to tuck and run. He's got the first down to the 40, inside the 35, and brought down by Darian Williams. So if there was any rust on the legs, they got around that pretty quickly, didn't he?
I'll tell you, and Llewellyn did a great job, I thought, on Simeon Rice on the outside. And just watch McMahon. Simeon Rice is coming from the right side. You see him trailing now the quarterback. But McMahon, I mean, these are pretty good running skills.
So McMahon, his first carry in a long time, and his first in the UFL, is for a first down, 1st and 10 at the 33 of New York. Ross on the ground with an opening, 25-20. Ross has a man to beat inside the 10. Ross takes it round to about the 2-yard line before he was run out of bounds. Tiller was in the vicinity and was able to keep him out of the end zone.
I'll tell you, this is a magnificent run, but the blocking is perfect. Take a look at this. Here comes Ross. Look at the blocking at the hole. Once he gets the block, he gets back to the outside. Tony Tiller at number 25 saves a touchdown, but that was an outstanding run by Ross.
30 yards on the play, 1st and goal at the 3. Ross last week had a touchdown. Whistle, and a timeout asked for by New York. Mike McMahon, impressive in this drive. His first start, he has his team at 1st and goal situation. Back in San Francisco, California, threatening on their first drive. It is 1st and goal at the 3. And in his first start, Mike McMahon has engineered a nice little series here for the home team Redwoods.
The one thing you really like about it is that Dennis Green didn't give him anything difficult. They're all short passes and then running the football. The offensive line is doing a sensational job now.
Ross, big play at tailback at 30 yards to set this up on play action. Throwing end zone, touchdown, California. That looks so nice and so easy.
Just take a look at the play action here, and what he does is he ends up hitting the tight end coming around from the other side. This was set up so beautifully. All you really have to do is to fake to one side, and nobody stayed with the tight end.
And that is Kai Brown, who made the catch and also changed his number before the game to 89. Brown with the catch. There is the kick to make it 7-0 California. Let's take one more look. Mike McBrown wraps it up here. He makes the play action fake. He finds Kai Brown wide open, and California goes in front.
The California Redwoods get on the board first. Mike McMahon, quarterback, great series right there, coming right out, playing well. You said tonight all you wanted to do was have fun. How nice is it to be able to start things off on this foot?
To start off on the right foot, just get that score, and now we got a lot of football left, and we just got to keep on going from there.
Thank you very much, and good luck the rest of the game. Kenny.
And you see the numbers on that drive, and they did it very short and sweet, didn't they, Paul?
Yeah, Kai Brown, I'm sorry, folks, we didn't get it because we didn't know that they changed his number. He was a linebacker. He was 53. Last week he was 53. This week he's 89, and that's kind of nice.
Well, they've had to go through 8 different uniform changes this week with the guys they brought in, so we'll give them a little slack on that as Douglas kicks off. And moving up to take it is Gross, Tyrone Gross. And Gross with some room gets up across the 40, close to the 45, right around the 44. Nice return from the man from Eastern Oregon, Tyrone Gross, who had a couple of seasons in and out of the San Diego Chargers camp.
That's one of the things you really like. Now watch what Gross does. He goes straight up the field. He's not looking to really dodge anybody. Now he sees the opening. The only guy he really has to beat is the kicker, and the kicker saves a touchdown.
And so 1st and 10 from their own 44. And they'll try to get something on the ground, and they find nothing. Absolutely nothing there. Norman Lejeune coming up to lead the way and make a nice stop one of those guys in the secondary that has had a little bit of NFL experience, although overall only 8 guys have had what would be true NFL experiences. Charles Ali goes out, and Sapp will come back in at fullback.
They just can't afford to waste this great field position.
Barkley the lone setback on 2nd and 12. And again, they'll keep it on the ground, and there's nothing doing there.
And just let me go back to the rule with the defensive linemen. They have 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers, and all 4 down linemen have to have their hand on the ground. Only one other player can blitz, or a red dog, or whatever you want to call it. But he has to declare himself, basically. He has to be a guy set in front of the umpire. And you just take a look at the defense now. You see the 4 guys that are down. Kenny, those are guys they're getting great penetration. Here comes a linebacker to the outside. I don't know that you're allowed to fake.
3rd and 13 under pressure. He makes the completion to Cottrell, who gets across midfield. That's Ronnie Gent, who made 2 big catches last week and becomes a go-to guy here on 3rd down. And Quinn Gray coming up with a needed completion.
Quinn Gray, I mean, he just stepped up. He's good. You're going to get pounded. You knows that. And that was Cooper that hit him, number 93. You're going to get hit. But you got to get the ball to the outside. That was really a good throw in recognizing the defense. And here you are. They're going for it on 4th down. Oh, no, I thought they were. I thought they were lined up and run a fake here.
They still came up 2 yards short after that 12-yard completion on 3rd down, so they'll have to kick it away for the 2nd time. Aaron Horn to kick it away. Sams is standing back, and he will let this one roll. And giving chase is Paul Pratt, and he came close to downing it. And there is why Cottrell loves this guy. That's why he made the team. He walked on, and they loved him, and they kept him. He gave good chase, but couldn't down it, and so they'll start from their own 20.
And Paul Pratt, what happens is he sees the ball that's going to hit him in the back. Now watch what happens. He knows now he tried to hit it back, but he's in the end zone. He can't touch the ball now, and he knew it.
They lead at 7-0, and California goes on the attack when we come back.
Welcome back to AT&T Park in San Francisco. California up 7-0. I'm joined by New York's leading rusher, LeBrandon Tofield. LeBrandon, you are dressed but not expected to play. Talk about your injury.
It's an AC joint sprain. It was a game time decision. I just left it up to the trainers and the coaches, and I don't know. It was just up to them. I mean, I feel pretty good right now. Hoping they change their mind and let me play. But, it was up to them, and the trainer said no, so, I'll be the biggest cheerleader we got.
Chris Barclay comes in to replace you. Describe his running style.
Barkley, he's more of a scat back. He's fast, he's quick through the hole. But, we got a lot of guys that can, go in and get the job done. Tyrone, we got, everybody. Everybody can go in and get the job done, so it doesn't really matter who they put in.
Okay, thanks, LeBrandon. Kenny, back upstairs.
Corey Ross with the carry, and lost a yard. It'll be 2nd and 11. The ball at the 19 of California, and they look so smooth in that first series to drive all the way in and score with the short game, Paul.
I told you the defense is going to sit back because they've never seen or heard this guy before. They don't know what kind of cadence he uses. They don't know what his tendencies are. And on that last play, it looked like they've adjusted a little bit.
Gabriel, top of your screen, they fake the reverse, the throw over the middle, and complete to Joe West, the leading receiver on the team, one of the few that survived the wholesale change, and he hauls it in for a 1st down.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is a fantastic throw by McMahon. Watch this. Watch him step up. He almost gets hit right here, but he steps up to the inside. That was the linebacker, Williams, that was coming after number 51, and a perfect throw.
17 on the play. It's 1st and 10 at the 36. Ross alone setback. Again, flips it out short, and it is dropped right there for the usual sure-handed Nate Lowry, the tight end, former starter for the Cincinnati Bengals, not able to haul this in.
I can't say enough about the play calling from the bench. because what they're doing with McMahon is they're not really not allowing him, first right now, to go deep. But I got to believe the way those little short passes to the outside, they got to be setting up something downfield.
2nd and 10 at the 37. McMahon, good protection again, and on the money again to the 45. And Shackelford gets close to midfield. The ball is loose, but it was already whistled down. Down around the 48-yard line. Sonny Shackelford making the catch. He had a pair of catches last week and brings this one in for another first down. Covers 12 yards.
Mike McMahon has been on target on every single one of his throws. Watch how fast this ball gets here. Shackelford he makes the move, comes back. You know, it looks like McMahon has been playing for years.
Boyd had 92 yards in the total game last week. McMahon's going to get that maybe in the first quarter. 1st and 10 at the 49. They'll keep it on the ground to John David Washington just in the game, and he gets inside New York territory to around the 46. Washington out of Morehouse College has seen action 5 carries previous to this. He picks up 6 on that before being brought down by Simeon Rice.
Well, you know what, and here you are on first down, you run the ball, you pick up 6 yards. It opens up your entire playbook. Now they can do anything. Play action passes, little even short passes, or take a shot deep.
2nd and 6 at the 45. Two tight end formation. They try to go right up the middle and find very little room that time for Corey Ross. And among those, Save is blocking up the hole rather quickly in there. And another nice play by Brian Save.
You know, the one thing about these defensive linemen, you don't see stunts and things that they're doing. They line up in a position and they take a gap. So one of the hardest things I think that you could do in the UFL is to run the ball directly up the middle, because there's just too many people there.
3rd, about 6, ball at the 46. McMahon under pressure by Rice. Steps up, dumps it off. It is complete. A short gain. Badejo comes in and gets it.
But Simeon Rice, he just absolutely amazes me. I mean, he teed off, and they're trying to block him on the outside with Llewellyn. Here comes, just take a look to the right of your screen. You're going to see Simeon Rice. He almost gets to the quarterback, and you can see he was going after the throwing arm. But, you know, he already beat a guy, and you're fighting a guy that's probably about 60 pounds more than you. But Simeon Rice, even at his age, doesn't quit.
We're going to mention a couple of names from the past, don't we, Rice? And Badejo coming in and taking that one on the run out of the backfield, coming up short. They will kick it away. Putt hangs up high. They're going to let it roll, and it goes into the end zone, and New York will take over at the 20. So another chance here for Quinn Gray and company when we come back. The beautiful city. And tonight in San Francisco, California Redwoods make their home opener. They lead it 7-0 over the New York Sentinels. UFL action on HDNet, and you can purchase individual tickets for UFL games by simply going to UFL-football.com. For group tickets, call 877-UFL 2009. Still a long way to go in the season, unless you're probably playing in the games, but still 5 more regular season games to go leading up to the championship. And here comes Quinn Gray leading the Sentinels on the attack on 1st and 10 from their own 20. So far in the game, he's 1 for 3 for 11 yards.
And one of the things that I'm seeing is that the California team, they're beating their defensive line, they're beating the offensive line to the ball. They're getting penetration. There's just been no place to run.
Barkley is a setback. Gray throwing on 1st down and has a completion out to the 25-yard line, wasting no time and getting his 2nd completion. And this is to Corin Robinson. Robinson, the former Pro Bowler for the Vikings, back in action and makes his first UFL catch.
And Robert Herbert is the guy that's covering him, and this is the guy that Dennis Green said he really likes this kid as a corner. He said he's going to be a hell of a player.
And that is one tough guy to stop. So, we're having a little bit of old home week here now, Paul, with Corn Robinson coming into the lineup after missing last week.
Well, one of the things about Corn, the reason he missed it last week, he's got a little arthritis in his knee.
Pickup of 7, 2nd and 3 at the 27. On the ground, and that fools no one as Barkley is met and brought down, and shooting in there, making the hit is Crum and Phillips. Now let's check in on the sideline with Natalie for an injury update. What's going on, Nat?
Yeah, Kenny, 2 starters out of tonight's game already for California, and 1 on each side of the ball. In that first series, California, John Abadi received a concussion, is going to be out for the rest of the game. And the free safety, Ray Bass, has injured his left quad and will also be out for the night. Kenny?
All right, Natalie, thanks. And on 3rd and 6 at the 24 for Florida. Gray throwing, completion, and a first down. And again, he goes to Corn Robinson. You have a feeling this guy can become his favorite receiver very quickly.
Yeah, but if I were he, I would get rid of the ball a little bit sooner than he did. I tell you, Quinn Gray gets hammered in that backfield, and there's a little scuffle back there. Look at Quinn Gray. He stays, and then he gets slammed. Watch this. There is the shot that Chris Cooper puts on him, and Quinn Gray goes, wait a minute, where are you guys coming from? Cooper and Phillips. Phillips is the guy that made the stop on a running play. Yeah.
1st and 10 up to the 39. And New York will take a timeout. That is their 2nd timeout of this half. California leading 7-0. New York getting a drive going.
You know, Kenny, I talked at the beginning about running the ball. You have to run the ball to be able to throw the football. Well, New York right now, with 39 seconds left to go in the first quarter, they are -5 yards rushing. And that's not going to get it done.
And on 1st and 10 at the 39. They'll keep it on the ground, trying to sweep out and getting just about a yard, and that shows how tough it's been as Robert Herbert comes up and nails Barkley as he was trying to turn the corner, and instead he runs right into Herbert.
Well, now I know why Dennis Green really likes this guy. He said this kid's a tough kid. Not only does he play the pass extremely well, but when you see him come up, look at the corner's support. This is a big guy, Herbert. He's 6'1", 210 pounds, playing corner.
Final seconds. Will they get this play off? 5 seconds to go here in the first quarter. And they do, and they go on the ground. And shooting through is Sapp. Cecil Sapp rips a nice run off, the best so far of the night for New York, before finally being brought down by Underwood. So Cecil Sapp, maybe that is a harbinger of things to come. We'll see for New York. Will they be able to move the ball as we start the second quarter when we come back?
Back inside AT&T Field in San Francisco, where the California Redwoods have already scored. Coach, you made a lot of changes to your team this past week, playing well on defense, and obviously your offense already scored. What do you think of the team's play?
Well, I think we just have a stronger sense of urgency. We were probably a little bit too young to play a team like Las Vegas and New York and Florida. So I just think we're a little bit older now, a little more experience. I think our sense of urgency is better. We need to run and pass the ball a little bit better. And defensively, this drive now with first down is going to be important.
Thank you very much for your time. Kenny, get back to you.
All right, thanks, Natalie.
I think he's got to be very happy with his quarterback. I mean, really, that's a decision he made. It was all on him. He just said, hey, you know what? If you can't get the job done, Shane Boyd, I'm going to put another guy in. He did, and Mike McMahon has done a great job so far.
We start the second quarter, 1st and 10 for New York. They're in California territory. And a nice crisp pass out in the flat. And Corn Robinson hauls it in for his 3rd catch in this drive, and obviously Gray has found the target that he's been looking for. They pick up 9 on that.
But you also see the respect that Corn Robinson demands. I mean, you're not going to get up and jam him. You're going to play a little bit cautious with this guy, because not only is he a big target, He's got great skills. And I always thought he had tremendous hands.
Two-time Pro Bowler. And it's now 2nd and 1. Ball down to the 34. Barkley, lone setback, gets the carry up the middle. Our first penalty flag is thrown as he gets it down to around the 24, and it's thrown in that vicinity, Paul, that you can almost always say.
Holding, offensive line. That is a true vicinity. when that flag comes out that fast, you know. The only other thing that possibly could be would be a face mask on a lineman. But you got about 99% of the time, it's holding. And Teddy Cottrell is not too happy. Boy, it's holding right in the middle line. Just take a look at the defensive lineman, number 91 is Phillips, who's been in the backfield most of the night. He's the guy that was held on the play.
You know, for the second straight week, we had a penalty-free first quarter. Our first flag of this game.
And there will be more.
2nd and 11, back to the 44. The throw, the catch, and they make it up big to Steve Sanders for a first down, and Quinn Gray stepped right into that and put it right on the numbers of Sanders, who had 2 catches last week.
Isn't it amazing how good a quarterback can be when you get protection? Now take a look at this. Quinn Gray has got protection. He just goes down the seam. Steve Sanders is wide open, and the ball is delivered on time.
They pick up the first down, 1st and 10 down at the 27. And keeping it is Gray. Gray hits, spins forward, gets about 3 on that to the 24.
Quinn Gray, you got to learn something, son. You don't go running up to a hole and then turn your back, because they're going to kill you. I mean, you better, if you're going to do anything, you get hit the ground, get down. Quinn Gray gets the ball, he fakes it, keeps the ball, runs into the hole, and as he gets to the hole, turns his back. You're just begging to get hammered.
Prince Quatin, the linebacker in on the play, is probably maybe a little startled by that. Hey, the guy's turning away from me. It is 2nd and 7 at the 24. And they'll go straight ahead, and Charles Ali is the ball carrier. Just finished up with the Browns. He was in their camp a bit, played 28 games over 2+ seasons in Cleveland.
You know, and you look at Teddy Cottrell's team. I mean, they've only rushed for, 17 yards in this ball game. But the one thing he's not going to do, he's not going to get away from the running game. He knows that he cannot win this football game unless they can establish some type of running. There's Thorpe that comes out. He had 4 catches last week. He hasn't even seen the ball tonight.
Thorpe, the man that had the touchdown catch last week on the first series. It is 3rd and 3, ball at the 20. In motion is Sanders, makes the catch and has another first down, very close to it, and Prude comes up to make the tackle.
Well, this is a nice play. Sanders comes flying out of the backfield, and watch Prude. You talk about a good tackle in the open field. That's a corner tackling. But they got the first down.
Picked up 4. That's what they needed. 1st and 10 at the 16. And certainly the best that Quinn Gray has looked, it seems, Paul, since that first series last week down in Florida.
Exactly. I mean, he has confidence, and they're giving him some time to throw the ball.
On the ground, Barkley, no room on the left side. And Pernell Phillips, we mentioned that name again. How active has this guy been coming in to help back up Jason Stewart on the line for California? Both coaches talking about trying to keep fresh guys in on the defensive line in this game.
And I think that's a good thing. I mean, these guys, even though they're not very experienced and they're not older guys, but you've got to keep turning these guys over.
2nd and 10. Good protection, dumps it over the middle, complete inside the 5. And he hits Crefonzo Thorpe. Thorpe, the man who had 2 big catches last week, including a touchdown. We mentioned him. He was just on the sideline. He's back in, and he makes a great catch and gets it down to the 3.
Just remember, I said he hadn't made a catch yet. And
That's
I
all.
mean, just take a look at this pattern. You got a clear out by Sanders on the top side. He goes to the corner, and it pulls the safety with him and allows Thorpe to get underneath.
13 on the play, 1st and goal. Gray trying to tie it up. They'll keep it on the ground and try to ram it right up the middle with Cecil Sapp, and he gets nowhere. Sapp's had the best run so far tonight, too, for them.
Yeah, he has. And the one thing that, you know, that you just, in this division now, the way these guys are, your young people, they're very active in the defensive line and the offensive line, and it's very difficult. And here, take a look at this play. It's very difficult to just rear back and say, I'm going to run the ball straight at you. Well, you got every guy that's in a gap. And if you can't get him out of that gap, there's no place for you to run. Plus, you got the middle linebacker sitting in there. If you're going to do something, I would do something to the outside.
Sapp stays in as a lone setback on 2nd and goal at the 3. Fires it out. Touchdown. That easy for New York. Barkley goes out as the wide receiver, and Chris Barkley hauls it in for his first touchdown.
Well, Kenny, they had 3 guys on the wide on the outside, and what they did is they brought, watch, see the 3 guys on the top side? Now watch Barkley. He's going to come out. The guy from all the way in the inside, and they got excellent blocking by Steve Sanders, number 12 on the outside, and Barkley just walks in.
Barkley making that one look easy. Now the chance to tie, and Peter Cech does, and it's 7-7. 14 plays, 80 yards, eating up almost 9 minutes of clock. And it's Quinn Gray, his 2nd touchdown pass of the season to Barkley to tie it.
Back in San Francisco, where New York just tied it up after a long drive. Quinn Gray, boy, did you guys need that long sustained drive, finishing it up with a touchdown pass. Describe the scoring play.
It was just a read. They had 3-on-3 out there, and we knew we could outflank them in certain situations. So it was just a matter of me reading what the defense was giving to me and just taking it.
Quinn, thanks for the time. Kenny, back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Ron. And Gray coming in when Ron and all of us were talking to Teddy Cottrell, you know, how about Gray and how was the mood with everybody last week? Because it seemed like a team that got a little tired, and it was very humid in Florida, but it was a tired team for New York in the 2nd half.
But I really like what Coach Cottrell said. He said, I'm going to tell you now, this is my quarterback. My quarterback is not going to be changed. Quinn Gray is the guy that I picked, and I'm going with him. And look what happened. The first series of downs, it was horrible. After that, he's been fine.
Peter Cech kicks off to B.J. Sams. Moves up at the 15. 20, 25, and will go right to about the 25-yard line. Sams, the former Ravens and Chiefs, returns at 12. And Mike McMahon and gang going on the attack once more. McMahon 7 of 8, 47 yards and a touchdown on that very first series to Kai Brown. As you take a look at his numbers here. And then Quinn Gray able to respond.
You know, that's very impressive, but I'm still waiting for them to turn this guy loose. In the 15-yard range and back to the line of scrimmage, he's been very accurate. I just want to see him throw deep.
And on 1st and 10 at the 25. Sets up, good protection. He is going deep down the sideline. Incomplete.
Flag right.
Going for Joe West, who's the top receiver on the team, and Battle was there, step for step below. Terrell Mays is the one that breaks it up.
Well, I said I'm waiting for him to go deep. He just did. You know, it's just a matter of time. He got one-on-one coverage on the outside with Mays, and just take a look at the throw. The throw was a little bit late. If the ball would have been just thrown a little bit further, West would have had a chance. But he had to turn his back to come back to the ball, and Mays was there to knock it away.
2nd and 10. Delay on the handoff. Ross will take it up the middle, out to the 29, a pickup of 5 on the carry, and Rice in there to bring him down.
I just like all of the play calling that we've seen so far with California. And again, also with New York on that last series that they had. But, you know, here's a young man that they call in the plays in, and, you know, Mike McMahon is told every time, and I don't think, we didn't get a chance to ask Dennis Green about it, because he had the ability to audibilize. I think he maybe on some plays, but not all.
3rd and 2 at the 32. Rolling in the pocket. Now under pressure comes back. McMahon looking and still on his feet, and now he will go down. McMahon bought some time, but you can only get so much, and he ran out of room there as Sauvé, one of the first in, along with Wallace, pressure on.
Michael McMahon, let me explain something to you, son. You're not that fast, okay? So if you see an opening, take it. You're not a dancer. And at that time, it looked like he might have had a shot had he kept going upfield, but he didn't. He decided, I'm going to put a move. Watch this. I'm going to make a move. Wrong. Feet don't fail me now, and they did.
And so they will kick away. And Barkley stands back to receive. Frost. Middle bounce. And picked up at the 22. Nice return. Up to around the 38. This is a new kind of dancing here in the United Football League. One that loses yardage. A gorgeous evening in the city by the bay, and it's 7-7. The Redwoods and Sentinels tied up here with 7:25 to go in the first half. Two teams coming in need of a win. Identical, almost identical openings. They had double-figure leads, and they blew it and wound up getting blown out by double figures. We talked in the pregame about how tight this could be, and it's kind of living up to the billing. They're almost equal in everything, including dead on the scoreboard.
Exactly. They each have, well, the Sentinels have 100 yards total, and California has 105. You can't get any more even than this thing is.
And Quinn Gray started out 0-2. He's completed 7 straight passes as they began 1st and 10 at their own 38. Gray, good protection, will dump it over the middle and make the completion to Barkley. Barkley has the first down across midfield, goes out at the 49-yard line. So Chris Barkley becoming a weapon out of the backfield. He's already caught a touchdown pass and picks up 13 yards and a first down.
But the thing about it is now Quinn Gray has some time. And when you have the confidence in your offensive line and you know that you can stand back there and wait, because Barkley was not the first or second receiver. He was the third receiver coming out of the backfield. And he's a check guy, check down, and he hits him.
Total yards now, California just 2 more than New York. New York is being able to do it, though, through the air with 90 total passing yards. They go to the ground this time and will lose a couple. Met and driven back, and everyone's getting involved in the action there, including Liam Ezekiel, number 44, coming up from the middle linebacker spot and pushes back Chris Barkley, and you can see it unfold here.
Yeah, just take a look at the middle of the line of scrimmage, and Ezekiel's number 44. He comes a little bit right off the tackle, but everything was already jammed up in the middle. He's just the guy that cleans up.
A loss of 2. 2nd and 12 at midfield. Play action. Great throwing, incomplete. Nice coverage by Prude. He was going for Sanders, and Ronnie Prude was right with him.
Sanders is looking for a flag on this play, but Prude was. This is just an outstanding play by Prude. Watch him go around. He does not put his hands on him. That was just good defense. And besides, the ball was thrown a little bit behind Sanders, and he couldn't make the turn because Prude was there. He would have run into him.
3rd and 12 midfield. Breaking the string of 8 completions for Quinn Gray. That last incomplete pass. Gray on 3rd down, sets up, steps up in the pocket, throwing complete, first down at the 29-yard line to Grafonzo Thorpe.
Well, I just really like the way Gray sets himself. He saw the rush coming. He knew that he had to step up, but he never took his eyes off of Thorpe. Take a look. He's looking to his right now. He knows Thorpe is on the left. Watch the throw. Between all the defenders, he hits Thorpe on the run.
First and 10 at the 29. Play action again. Flips it over the middle and off the hands of Ali coming out of the backfield.
This ball was almost intercepted. And they say it's Williams again, but I take a look here on the outside. Number 96 is Carrington. He almost intercepts this ball. This is what you call throwing a quick screen. And there's a white shirt there, and your guys are in black.
The 6'7" Carrington getting the hand up, his second and 10 at the 29. Great, throwing deep down the sideline, and it is complete. What a catch, hauled in by Corin Robinson. And you hear the home team respond, and I gotta believe that an all-pro like Robinson has got to be digging that.
Well, and what happens is Quinn Gray's trying to get him to the line of scrimmage to run a play so they can't review it. But here's the blue flag is already out. This ball is thrown to the outside. You talk about a perfect throw to Corin Robinson. Quinn Gray, I mean, laid this ball exactly where it had to be.
They will review it.
I tell you what, Quinn Gray really impressed me right there. He tried to get that team to the line of scrimmage before Dennis Green could throw the blue flag out. All right, now just remember, you gotta catch the ball inbounds. 1 foot down. Is the second one down? No, it's not.
No.
This is not a catch. And the other thing that's very important about it, you got to maintain possession of the ball when you hit the ground. But he did do that. But watch, 1 foot down, the left foot is in, right foot isn't. And there's no such thing as being forced out.
Ahmad Trudeau right with him on the coverage.
There is no force out. You know, that's what Corin Robinson's down there talking to the official. He said, you know, wait a minute, I was forced out. No such thing. He did maintain possession, but he didn't get 2 feet down. They're going to bring this baby back. But what a great throw.
And
what a great throw.
You can just see the confidence in Quinn Gray now. He has completed passes to 5 different receivers tonight.
Well, and, you know, that just shows his confidence, again, in his offensive line. And, you know, he did have protection in the first series of downs, but he just missed people. He got his feet underneath him.
The receiver did not come inbounds with 2 feet. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. Ball goes back to the 29-yard line. It'll be second down. California is not charged with a timeout.
And they keep their 2 challenges.
And compliments to the quick hands of Dennis Green to get that blue flag onto the field, beating the fast legs of Quinn Gray, trying to get his team set up down at the 2 at that time.
That's one of the big differences, you know, between the UFL and the NFL. The blue flag and the red flag. That distinguishes them. Hey, we got a blue flag. You want red? Go ahead.
It's now 3rd and 10 at the 29. See what they can do now. Ronnie Gent back in at tight end. And actually, Ronnie Gent is set up and is moving over now to the left side. Gray back, throwing, tipped, almost intercepted, and it is. California, the tip drill pays off, and Underwood comes away with it and brings it to the 25. That is why they have the tip drill right there, isn't it?
And they're also going to take a look, my friend, at whether Underwood took this off the surface or he caught it in the air. There were 3 different guys that had a shot at this ball.
One more look. 1, 2. 3rd time the charm. There's the interception.
This is the epitome of the tip drill, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, there's a lineman that gets his hand on it. Watch this. Then there's going to watch it. Here goes the first tip right here. All right, that goes up there. Now watch the 2 linebackers fight over it, and they knock the ball out of each other's hands. And then Underwood just takes it right up. It did not hit the ground. There's no challenge or anything. That was just a solid interception by Underwood.
Robert Herbert, Norman Lejeune, Morrell Williams, all with hands on it, and the man that secured it, Marvell Underwood.
Here's your highlight. Here's your highlight for this team.
That's the highlight right there, and it slowed down a very strong and gaining confident New York offense led by Quinn Gray. Under 5 minutes to go in the first half, and Mike McMahon and company go to work once again. Ross, little hesitation in the backfield, and works his way back to the line of scrimmage.
See, here's the situation. When you get a big turnover like they just got California, take a shot at them. Take a shot downfield, do something, because they're a little disorganized and you know, they're getting their defenses get back onto the field. Take a shot.
2nd and 10, 2 receivers to the left. McMahon going that way and just a little behind Doug Gabriel.
You know, if the ball was a little bit behind, but I thought that was an outstanding throw. And Gabriel's going back saying, hey, my fault, my fault. All Gabriel had to do was turn his body. Watch where the throw is. If you're going to get one hand on it, you can get both of them. Watch him turn. If he had turned his body, he would have had a better chance of catching the football.
Gabriel, one of the 8 guys who joined the team this week, and one of the 3 receivers, and he remains in on 3rd and 10. McMahon deep drop. Throwing again for Gabriel. It is broken up. Nice defensive play by Terrell May. Second time that he has broken up a pass in this game.
And Paul Pratt almost got him an interception, his second interception. Here's another tip ball. Watch this. This ball's going to be tipped. What 37 is Paul Pratt? Almost gets the ball.
And so it's 3 and out. And Derek Frost will kick away once again. Brian Bonner stands back this time. Bonner moves up, takes it at the 35 to the 40. 45 up to the 48. Good field position for New York. 3:55 to go in the first half. Sometimes the ball bounces your way if you have the right set of hands. Back here in San Francisco, tie score. Sentinels getting ready to come on the attack with 3:55 to go in the first.
There's Simeon Rice talking to Teddy Cottrell in the break, and he's just saying, if I can get upfield, I can beat this guy. I'm putting some moves on him. We got to get somebody else putting some pressure on the other side.
There's Rice, a pair of tackles. Rice and Cottrell, they can put on a few defensive clinics, couldn't they? Barkley gets it and carries it across midfield and gets back into California territory. Sentinels have 1 timeout remaining as the clock ticks down to 3:40 to go here in the first half. Barkley's already caught a touchdown pass. Lone score here for the Sentinels. New York 111 passing yards compared to 45 for California in this game. Quinn Gray, a little bit of a rough start, but he has settled right down and had 2 good drives, and he'll keep it on the ground again to Tyrone Gross. And Gross around the right side, and Robert Herbert is right there. And that's, again, when Teddy Cottrell was talking about Herbert.
You know, when you look at a corner, you know that I've got to get a kid. First of all, I'm going to see him if he can cover. But you take a look at Herbert here. That's the 3rd time we've seen this guy come in and lay a lick.
And I thought Dennis Green had a great summation of this league and so many things when he talked about a guy like Robert Herbert, how it's about every day as we get ready for 3rd and 3 here. And he pointed out to a guy named Robert Griffin, who went on to that all-pro career with the Vikings. And Denny knows well he's with him now as a defensive assistant. Gray is throwing deep down the sidelines and in and out of the hands, almost hauled in by Smith, rather. Jamel Smith almost made the catch.
Jamel Smith, I mean, it kind of looked like there was a little bit of contact, but I like the fact that they're letting him play. Take a look at Jamel Smith. This ball is right to the outside. He's going down. He should have made the catch.
And so B.J. Sands goes back. waiting to receive the punt of Horn. And he'll let it go into the end zone. And that's where they'll touch it back. And now California goes on the offense. And they have all their timeouts remaining, 3 timeouts remaining with 2:15 to go as you look at Smith sitting over the bench. And just to get back with, I think, some great points Dennis Green made was, as you know, Paul, so many of these guys come in, and we have a lot of guys that were with a team like 24 hours, and then they went to another team. And he did talk about, in the NFL especially, these guys have to be good every single day. You cannot have a bad day when you're trying to make the team as a free agent, undrafted free agent. And he said there's a lot of guys that get, lost in the shuffle, like Griffith did a little bit before he became obviously the All-Pro, and that's why he's so high on a guy like Herbert.
And the other thing too is when you look at the players on this team, when a guy gets rid of a bunch of players and brings in 8 new ones in the second week, you better pay attention. You better learn what your position is. And the one point that he's making to every single one of these guys is this: you are now pros. You are being paid to play a game. You better learn how to play it and play it my way, or you're gone. It's that simple.
And McMahon just snapped off a pro pass there, firing it out on the side and hitting Sonny Shackelford. A pickup of 8, 2nd and 2, out to the 28.
I'll tell you, I like what I've seen with this young man.
And they will use a timeout. Will California? They'll have 2 left. Or no, we're at the 2-minute warning. This game has flown by. We're at the 2-minute warning here in the first half, tied at 7. Let's check in once again with Natalie.
Well, Kenny, we get all access here, and I was spending some time with Mike McMahon and that new wide receiver, Doug Gabriel. Seems like they're trying to work on their relationship, sitting on the bench, talking together. But the funny thing was, Doug gets up right after their conversation and optimistically says, hey, Natalie, get ready because we're going to be in our end zone soon. So they're feeling good.
That he called you by your first name, Natalie.
That he did. We interviewed him earlier today, so I guess that's why.
All right, thank you, Nat. We'll be checking back in with you and Ron over on the New York sideline. As you look at McMahon, both coaches were telling us, Paul, how even they think their teams are. They have a lot of the same, frustrations a little bit with having some inexperienced guys, a lot more than the other 2 teams in the league. We thought it might be an even game, and wow, they did a pretty good prediction on this so far, didn't they?
Yeah, when the numbers are even. There's Terry Valenti. She is the head linesman, the first in pro football. And I'll tell you what, she really does a terrific job.
2 minutes to go in the first half, 2nd and 2 at the 28 for California. McMahon sets up, guns it. First down, Doug Gabriel, who steps out of bounds. There's him again. We talked about a guy that just comes in. He was with Florida and cut by Florida just last week. Then he comes out to California, and he's part of the mass commute coming into this team here in California.
Denny Green said about Gabriel, he said, I wanted him in the first place when I couldn't get him, and now I got him in a second shot around.
1st and 10 at the 35. Redwoods with all their timeouts remaining. Drop deep, and he just flips it over to Ross. Ross moving up near the 50 to about the 49-yard line. Nice carry for Ross, picking up about 14 on the play for a first down.
Mike McMahon, take your time. You've got 3 timeouts. You've got 1 minute and 35 seconds. You've got all the time in the world to put points on the board. Slow it down.
They'll hurry up here on a delay. Ross will carry. He's to the 40, gets to the 39.
Now, if you take a timeout now. This will save a lot of clock. You still have 2 more left. You got the ball inside around their 40-yard line. This is a nice drive. Again, Mike McMahon throwing the ball exactly where he wants to throw it. He's got a lot of poise.
That's free safety Trey Battle they're looking at now.
Trey Battle is number 27, and he's making the tackle. Well, his own man ended up on top.
Looked like that was part of the deal.
They're looking with his right leg.
As you look at Ted Cottrell on the sideline. And he was talking about the progression of a lot of his younger guys. And again, he made a good point, too. The second half, as they continue to look at Trey Battle, he mentioned the second half of his game last week in the loss to Florida. You know, some of these guys were cramping up a little bit. They were getting a little tired simply because they hadn't actually been in there in game conditions in a long time, some of these guys.
And I think a point we made earlier, the fact that they really never did scrimmage in the 3 weeks that they had a training camp. And I'm going to tell you, both of these coaches, they've been around a long time, and neither one of them are making excuses for their football players. They said they're young, they're learning, they're going to learn as we go along. And what better guys can you have to teach them than these two guys, Teddy Cottrell and Dennis Green? I mean, they know what's going through these guys, that they didn't really get a chance in the NFL. They were there for a short period of time as cannon fodder, most of them, and now they're giving them a chance to play football.
Battle walked off on his own power over to the sideline. You wonder about the rhythm now for McMahon, who'd completed 3 straight passes. His play resumes 1st and 10 at the 40 of New York. McMahon pumps. McMahon going for it all down the sideline, and no, in and out of the hands of West. And with him step for step was Tony Tiller.
Where's McMahon been? Someone tell me where this guy's been? Look at this throw. Look at where the ball is. I mean, he was the only one that could catch the football, would be West. There was outstanding coverage downfield. But, that is the guy that had a chance. Tiller was there, couldn't make the catch or steal on the ball.
2nd and 10 at the 40. McMahon has already passed the total, or approaching passing the total that Shane Boyd put up in the entire first game. They'll keep it on the ground, and Corey Ross will do the heavy lifting once again, as he has for most of the carries in this first half. Getting back, as we got a timeout now with 1:04 to go here. Timeout taken here by California.
Timeout, California. That's a second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Looking back on that play made by Tony Tiller, who was right there step for step in that throw down the sideline to West. Tiller just joined this team he joined the team about a week ago. It's another one of the great stories already of the United Football League. Tiller joined the team, and then he was going to dress. He didn't get to dress, so now he's going to dress this week. So we were talking to him a couple of days ago, and he said, yeah, I finally dressed out and started practicing a little bit, and I'm ready to go basically about 72 hours before the game. I said, this ever happened before? He said, yeah, in Canada about 3 years ago, I was playing in the CFL, and I got picked up by a team on Thursday and Friday night I played. So I'm ready for this, and obviously he was, as he made great coverage in that play just a moment ago, as we pick it up now 3rd and 4th at 34. McMahon under pressure, unloading, and it is deflected. Good defense by New York. They make the stand.
It's kind of amazing. You've said that same statement. Not that they were picked up by another team, played the next day, but they were picked up and playing today, like this week and last week, with about 8 or 9 different guys. I mean, you're going to see guys that are playing tonight. Now, New York has a bye this next week. There may be some of these guys gone if they don't win this football game, and they'll bring other guys in.
2nd or 4th down and 4 at the 34. McMahon, good protection, but it was through the hands, and there is a flag. Glenn Holt just into the game, one of the new receivers. It goes off his hand in double coverage, and a flag is thrown. And it's going against the defense, against Terrell Mays.
An illegal contact. Teddy Cottrell, the guy missed the ball. But this is a great break. All right, Terrell Mays is number 34. But the contact was made way before the ball was thrown.
And we got our first look at Glenn Holt, another one of the receivers picked up just this week. So it goes from 4th and 4 to 1st and 10 at the 29 with that penalty. McMahon sets up, dumps it off over the middle. Ross has it. He's to the 15 and brought down by Battle. And a little little shove, no you, after the end of that tackle. 14 yards on the play, 36 seconds to go.
34 on the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And another flag in there for 5 more.
On Mays.
Correction, penalty is declined.
Yeah, but it still was another penalty on Mace for illegal contact. I mean, you talk about, to me, there's no such thing as a real good penalty. But on the play before with Battle, it was 4th down. Pass was incomplete. And it's illegal contact.
It's 1st and 10 at the 15. 36 seconds to go. Redwoods still have 1 timeout remaining. McMahon pumps. He's under pressure and he goes down. They finally are able to put the pressure on and get to McMahon. A nice job throughout the night, but Save is the one that gets the sack.
And again, you can throw the ball away in this league. Man, get rid of the ball.
Lose 7. Back to the 22. Throwing, intercepted. Floated that one up, and it was picked off by Tony Tiller. Bet he's glad that he joined the team this week.
Yeah, and they're glad he joined the team. But I'm going to tell you something. This was a bad pass. This pass was thrown by Mike McMahon, and there were 4 black shirts down there. Take a look at the black shirts that are in the area. There is just no chance for the receiver to catch the football. And take a look. I mean, it was a Gabriel had no chance on that ball, and Tiller takes the interception. I mean, I don't understand the throw, and neither does Dennis.
At worst, you figure they get field goal position. Now they come away with nothing, and McMahon has not made many mistakes in this game, and he makes a big one near the end of the first half. So we thought it'd be even, or at least close. I'm going to say we predicted even, but it is even. It's 7. It can't get any closer, Paul.
And I tell you, it was a very entertaining first half. You're wondering what Mike McMahon would do. He stepped up very well and did the job. The only time that he panicked, I think, was the last 2 plays of this drive. And he was trying to hurry up offense. He should have thrown the ball away because there's no intentional grounding, and then he threw the interception.
Let's check in with Ron Kruk. Ron.
Okay, thanks, Kenny. Head coach Ted Cottrell, your defense gave up a touchdown on the first possession and then shut them down the entire way, including that last interception. Evaluate the defense.
Well, I thought after, just like you said, Ron, after the first drive, guys settled down and we started playing some pretty good ball and started executing, and we came with some big plays. And that was a huge play right there at the end of the half. That big takeaway. We got to get a few more of those.
You said that the running game would be a key in this game. You only have 27 yards on the ground. How do you get that going in the second half?
Well, we just have to keep working at it because we're not going to abandon the run because that sets up all our play-action passes and all. And we got to find out. I saw for myself we're missing a few blocks, and so we'll get that corrected.
Okay, thanks for the time, Coach.
All right, Ron.
Okay, Kenny, Paul, back upstairs.
All right, good stuff, Ron, and we'll see and maybe hear again from Ted Cottrell possibly in the locker room in a few minutes. I guess he's got to be fairly happy with the way everything's going. It's been a fun game to watch. California comes out, and coming right back is New York. And like 2 fighters round by round. It's 7-7 at halftime. It is a gorgeous evening here in San Francisco. California 7, New York 7 at intermission. You're watching United Football League action on HDNet. And we've seen a really competitive game here. As we talked about in the pregame show and throughout, we expected these 2 teams to come out and be able to go back and forth, but they've almost matched each other stride for stride and even in a couple of miscues.
I know, when you looked at it, though, you thought, well, at the beginning of the game that Quinn Gray was off, okay, just in the first series. But they came back, and it looked like there's so much more offense than there really was. I mean, it's only 7-7. But the defense has stepped up in this game when they had to. And both of these coaches, when we talked to them all last week, they said, you know, our teams are not as experienced as the other 2 teams in the league. And he said, and it's not an excuse, and we have not had a whole lot of time. They will never make excuses. And you could see when Teddy Cottrell was leaving the field, he had a smile on his face when Ron was talking to him. He said very happy about some of the things that he has seen. He's got to get to his offensive line. They got to block a little bit better. And they got to take care of the football, something they didn't do
go, but they got to take care of the football.
Dennis Green took a big stand this week. He made a change in his quarterback. Shane Boyd went out. Mike McMahon started. McMahon has played well up until the very end of the half when he threw, kind of floated it up there, and it was picked off, stopping a scoring potential. But they have played well, and they've gotten a lot of new guys into the lineup and have been effective for the most part.
Yeah, I think Dennis is very happy with the choice he made and the decision he made about changing quarterbacks. I mean, it wasn't, the other quarterback, Boyd wasn't doing anything for him last week. Now he's got McMahon. I think he's very happy about that.
And inside here at AT&T Park, the California Redwoods locker room.
Got to have them up. Our regular play action will be outstanding. All right? It just comes down to protecting people. Now, we've got a list of plays here. Getting into ace. They're not ready for our ace package. Fake 60 power X slant will be a call. Dot right close. Pound right. 299 X sluggo. Trying to get things vertical on one side with a sluggo on the backside, which we planned on doing. All of our waggles, our hides, at a tiger. Going flank right. Zip. Zip, waggle, H-high. Doesn't matter what formation we're in. We've got to work that. Train right, 14 and 15 O's. They bluffed us one time, Michael, when they walked Will on the end of the line. We checked it to 60 outside. Still should have been a good play. Don't matter. Don't matter. Dot left zip, 088 read. We ran the ghost 8 read for about 20 yards. The burner's coming up at a regular. All right? The flame is coming out up at a dot slot. Believe me, we can get the ball down the field. It just comes down to making sure that we have these guys up on the play action and we make the rhythmical throws that we know we can make. The second quarter, we were off rhythm with things. All they did was 3 buzz. They played 2. They played a little alert. There wasn't any reason to panic over anything. They're going to change their look. That's no big deal. Offensive line's doing a good job protecting in there.
About as calm a scene as you will find in any professional football locker room. Very basic, very businesslike.
Well, one meeting, one guy talking, and that's the coach.
And everybody looking on because most of these guys, remember, there are 3 new receivers. We have seen 2 of them play, one of them make a catch, and then, of course, a quarterback who's been with the team but gets his first start.
Well, just think about the new receivers. I mean, you're listening to all this waggle and the ghost and the slant and the smoke and all these different things as the terminologies for what they want the receivers to do. When you see waggle and you're moving the ball, I think what we're going to see from California a little bit more in the second half is a little bit of play action and moving the quarterback a little bit more out of the pocket than in the pocket. And what they're trying to do is hit something a little bit deeper than they've been hitting. The guys that maybe looked a little confused, but I didn't see anybody, would be the new guys, because the most important thing for these guys is learning terminology. Yeah. They've all played the game. They know how to run a pattern, and they know what the patterns are. But when some guy puts a different name on it, that is okay. It's good.
A matter of semantics, but, they were taking notes. It looked like at least mental notes. Meanwhile, no, these guys haven't signed yet. I don't think anybody's looking at them. We'll be back with halftime highlights. Stay with us. And welcome back as it is halftime here at AT&T Park. And 7-7, the Redwoods and Sentinels are all tied up here in the UFL. Kenny Rice and Paul McGuire, and we get ready to look at the first half. And you mentioned earlier, Paul, there was a lot of action in here. A lot of up and down the field to be only a 7-7 game, as the scoreboard shows. The stats is a little different.
They had 2 good drives that ended up in touchdowns, and you're going to see both of them. First by California. McMahon goes back to pass on the play action, and then he decides to run. He picks up about 17 yards on this play. Heads up football. Then Roski, take a look at this run. This is an outstanding run by Roski. He gets back to the outside. The touchdown is saved. But then they run a bootleg play, almost a bootleg rollout. Rollout. And, when you see Brown, the tight end, in the end zone by himself, that means that everybody is playing the rollout, the play action, and touchdown occurs.
And then Quinn Gray got into his rhythm coming right back for New York.
Yeah, the first series of downs, he wasn't even close to the receivers. But then he just got comfortable sitting in the pocket, look at the blocking, and then Barkley on the outside. First of all, the defender that was on that play fell down. But that was kind of neat. And then we have the 2 interceptions in the game. This is just fun to watch. 3 4 guys hit the ball, and then Underwood comes in and just takes it off the shoe tops. That's just a great play on defense.
And McMahon had not made many mistakes until late in the first half.
Yeah, and then he just throws the ball where there are 4 black shirts, and Tony Tiller, number 25, comes up with the interception. And McMahon, shakes his hand, head going off the field. He was just got too excited in the hurry-up drill. You're in the 2-minute offense, and when they started it, they had 3 timeouts. They used them very wisely, but he was in too big of a hurry.
You look at the numbers, a turnover piece, and it's pretty much, well, it's the rushing right now for the Redwoods, the passing for the Sentinels, but the Redwoods, by McMahon coming in and making that change, Paul, they're only 10 yards away from what they equaled in their entire loss last week. So he is getting some passing going. As we heard in the locker room, it looks like they're going to try to at least open it up and push the field a little more and try to go a little deeper in the second half.
I like what we're seeing from McMahon, and and also Gray. I mean, both quarterbacks, I think, have kind of settled down, and I think you're going to see a little bit more poise in the second half because they both have confidence in their defenses. Not only their offensive line, but their defense is getting the ball back for them. The defenses are playing extremely well.
McMahon, we wondered, would there be any rust? He hadn't played in 2 years in a game. Well, not much. And Gray was on a roll. Will he be able to continue it as we get ready for the second half here in San Francisco? California 7, New York 7. We get ready for the second half. 7-7, California and New York tied up. And we will start the second half with California receiving the ball. You see the AT&T field. It's laid out from the left field foul line. And the other end zone is right about where home plate would be. The pitcher's mound is right about the 10-yard line. And they really have done a nice job, I think, with this field to convert it over for football. Not a lot of baseball, football fields shared now like there was once upon a time. Peter Check will kick off, and B.J. Sams awaits the kick. Sams from his 6. The 20, dances around and comes down right at the 22-yard line as Brian Bonner is there for the tackle.
Now, one thing that's unusual about this league, you see the 4 guys down on your left-hand side? That's called a wedge. You're only allowed to have a 2-man wedge. But watch what California does. They're going to slip a 3rd guy in. And that's illegal. They could throw a flag there if they wanted to, or if they really read it, because you're only allowed to have 2 men in a wedge, and that's a safety thing.
18 yards on the return. At 1st and 10, they mark it at the 24. As McMahon goes on the attack, and Shackelford and Gabriel are in as receivers. Ross in the backfield. McMahon looking to the left under pressure from Rice, throwing, and it's intercepted. Terrell Mays picks it off, feeling the heat from Simeon Rice.
Boy, this is really Simeon Rice. I mean, this is Llewellyn, number 77, is trying to block him man-to-man. And Simeon Rice gets in the face of McMahon, and McMahon throws the ball up in the air, and Mays is the guy that interception. Watch this. Here comes Simeon. In his face, he throws the ball away. Now, there is a situation. If you're going to throw the ball away, throw it out of bounds. Don't throw it up in the air for grabs.
And McMahon's last 2 passes have been picked off.
And vintage Simeon Rice.
And he knows it, doesn't he? And now here comes Quinn Gray. Great field position. Drops back, pitches it over there, and has a completion. Ali with it, draws the crowd, losing his helmet. Moving in on that was Jason Stewart. That was only a helmet, folks, for those watching at home.
Jason, that's a big man, 320, and I think you can add some more.
Yeah, he's listed at that. He played a couple of years, on and off with the Colts, played some arena football. They pick up 6, 2nd, and 4. And they'll keep it on the ground, and it appears they've got the first down with Barkley. Let's check in with Natalie.
halftime, Coach Green was dedicating himself to telling his players to switch their cleats. The equipment managers were moving around, more busy than a lot of the other players. Basically, the D-backs, the receivers, everyone needed to change because the ground is wet. It does have something to do with the fact this is a baseball diamond, and they had to bring in sod to take the baseball diamond and turn it into a regular field. And so, as you can tell, the players are struggling a little bit, but happily, the cleats are helping out.
All right, thanks, Natalie. 1st and 10 as we get back to action. And Dennis Green he didn't have a concern as much, I think, as a curiosity when we talked a couple of days ago with him. How would this field be? The baseball surface, and, you know, especially with having to put the new grass in where the infield is between the 40 and this is Barkley carrying over on the right side, and we'll get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe pick up about a yard. Ron, you got anything to add there in this field report?
Well, they were working on the field, there's no doubt, at halftime, but I'm with the guy who just made the interception, Terrell Mays, and do you have to give Simeon Rice a little credit on that one with the quarterback pressure?
Oh, yeah, every time a secondary makes a play, it's all about the guys in front of us, D-line, linebackers. It's never just one guy doing it by himself.
Terrell, thank you very much. Kenny?
Tell you, Ron, Terrell did a nice job keeping his feet in bounds. He didn't have any traction problems hauling in that interception and staying in bounds. 2nd and 8 at the 31. On the draw with it is Barkley, and Barkley is brought down. Moving in is Prude to make the tackle.
The one thing, I'll tell you, I really like the fact that we have access to the players during the course of the ball game. And the players are all right with that. If the players and the coaches weren't all right with it, it'd be a different thing. But now you got a chance to talk to a guy after he makes a big play. And they really want to be on. Now you see Barkley on that play. I mean, that was just outstanding blocking by the offensive line. But I like the fact that we can talk to these guys anytime during the ball game, including the coaches.
Picked up 7 on that alone, and it makes it 3rd and 3 down at the 26-yard line of California. Remember, this drive started after Mays got the interception, giving him great field position. Gray backs away, didn't like it. He'll take a timeout. We got a break, 12:09 to go here in the 3rd. Simeon Rice put the pressure on, forced the turnover. Can New York capitalize? Tied at 7, coming up on a 3rd and 3 at the 26. Dennis Green, Ted Cottrell. Of course, we know Denny Green had the great success as an NFL head coach, college head coach. Ted Cottrell he's been like the go-to assistant guy, the defensive genius. Now getting his chance to be a head coach. We're going to talk more about the way he is delegated with these guys as we look at a 3rd and 3. And a flag. Movement on the line.
Ezekiel.
60 offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Ezekiel number 44, the linebacker, the middle linebacker, faked like he was going to run a blitz, and then they just moved at the line of scrimmage. That was a nice play by the defense. Watch it a little bit left of your screen. You'll see 44 Ezekiel. He'll come in to the inside, and then Metter just moves, and he went, oh, no, man.
3rd and 8 at the 31. A sport for young and old alike. In a familiar situation, 3rd and 8. Do you go to the air? Usually, yes. Gray looks, firing over the middle. Incomplete into double coverage. He was going for Sanders. Herbert was there along with Lejeune to break it up.
Outstanding defense. And you know, you take a look at Gray. He's got time to throw the ball. He's got time. And then he wants to stick it into Sanders. And there was just no chance of getting the ball in there because Lejeune was there. Makes a play.
Peter Check will come on to kick. This will be a 49-yarder. He is 2 for 2 on the season, his longest 42 yards. Out of the hold of Horn, the kick is up, and it comes up short. So great field position for the Sentinels after the interception by Mays, but they were held. And this kick comes up short. Still tied at 7. And back in San Francisco, tied at 7, the Redwoods and Sentinels here in the 3rd quarter. And a good look at big number 99 for the home team, Redwoods, Jason Stewart. out of Fresno State, played a couple of seasons with the Colts. Mike McMahon goes back on the attack. He's just won for his last 6. His last 2 passes have been picked off.
Settle down, young man. Settle down. Well, this is one of the things you really wonder about. You got to change the possession. Okay, you got a timeout. You're on the sidelines. Look at Denny Green looking at him. What did you talk about when you went to the sideline? You had to have a play and then an alternate play to call. So you get up there at the line of scrimmage after a timeout and waste the timeout. Look at Denny Green. Say what? You know, there's some of those guys on the bench, when you looked at them, you had to use a wide-angle lens because they expand as it goes.
Mike McMahon getting his first game action in 2 years since he was with Toronto in the Canadian Football League, starting tonight in place of Shane Boyd. He has put up over 100, or approaching 100 yards now in passing offense. Coming up on 1st and 10 at the 31. Deep drop, throwing it over the middle, complete to Gabriel. Gabriel right there, and it was just a nice little cushion right in front of Paul Pratt.
I told you at halftime they're going to run some, you listen to the locker room, they run some play-action passes. This is a play-action pass. And this was a perfect throw to Gabriel. He got it over the linebacker and in front of the safety. It's just a perfect throw. Look at him. He's got poise. Now, he sees Gabriel making the turn, and look where this ball is placed. I mean, that is just a perfect throw.
Picked up 19 on the play. 1st and 10, 42. On the ground to Ross. Nice move by Ross, cutting back to his left and gets about 5 on the play. Paul Pratt is in there to make the tackle. Going back to that last play, when you looked at that route again, number 10, Gabriel, obviously catching it. The guy running just inside him, number 15, Glenn Holt. Those are the 2 new receivers that just joined the team about 5 days ago.
Well, then Holt said to Gabriel, "Where are you going? I'm going to go right with you."
I'm going to follow you. I think you've seen the playbook more than me. 2nd and 6 at the 38. Again on the ground to Ross. Nice block, and Ross gets about 4 more. Bring up a 3rd and about 2 at the 38.
What a nice play by Mays, the corner man. Mays can't make the tackle, and he knows that there's a lead blocker going to come in after him. Take a look on the right-hand side of your screen. Number 34 is Mays. He takes on the block and makes Ross turn back inside to the defense. That was just an outstanding play by see him, he's on the ground. He takes the blocker out. He knows he can't make the play, and he makes the runner Ross cut back in.
Flag on the play before we get started. Looks like motion.
Smells like motion.
That means it might be
motion.
3rd and 8. The ball goes back to the 40. You look at Denny Green, and go back to your conversation. I thought it was very interesting when you asked Ted Cottrell about his defense. And, you know, he's the defensive whiz, and you ask him how he controlled his defense, what his working relationship was.
I said, how much do you step in and help? He said, listen, I hired Don Blackman as a defensive coordinator. I leave him alone. I'll make some suggestions in a meeting before a meeting, but other than that, I hired an offensive coordinator, Wes Chandler, and a defensive coordinator, and I let them call the play.
Pass completed to Sonny Shackelford, who gets close to the 1st down. And it's going to be 4th, about 4 at the 37. And so California will be kicking it away once again. Frost to kick. And Bonner will receive.
I'd like to see a punter kick the ball out of bounds. Either if he's a right-footed kicker, kick it out of bounds left. They're so intent on trying to drop the ball at the 10-yard line. You know how hard that is?
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
But if he would turn, Frost, and just kick the ball as far as he could, aiming at the 10-yard line, and kick the ball out of bounds, where there is absolutely no chance for a return.
I know a guy that used to do that for the Buffalo Bills in the AFL. I think he still holds the all-time season average, about 42. 43.
I don't remember it.
I don't.
Yeah, who counts?
But you know, what's a yard?
43.2.
43.2.
And a half.
And always seem to find the coffin corner, kind of a lost art of punting. This one's hung up, and Bonner will call for fair catch and take it at the 7. And so that's where New York will start. Quinn Gray and company ready to come back on offense, tied at 7. And back here at AT&T Park, home of the San Francisco Giants, of course, and tonight home of the California Redwoods of the United Football League on a gorgeous evening in the Bay Area. And now New York will start. Charles Ali comes to the backfield once again. New York, after the touchdown, they've had an interception, a punt. They turned it over on downs and missed a field goal during their last 4 possessions. 1st and 10 at their own 7. Flips it out. It is caught for just a couple of yards, and there he is, Crefonzo Thorpe. It's been a long time since we talked about him. He had the 4 receptions last week, 1 of 54 yards that led to an 11-yard touchdown pass, but has been rather quiet since then.
He had 1 in the first half, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it.
And here's the second one.
So they pick up 2, 2nd and 8 at the 9. On the ground they will go and get absolutely nothing. Barkley was brought down immediately by Thomas. Dontarius Thomas, remember him from the Vikings especially.
Well, you know, Thomas on this play, once you commit yourself, go. Watch Thomas commit himself. He's on the outside. He's got the seal the outside. He did it beautifully.
Thomas has 5 NFL seasons, briefly was in the Bay Area with the 49ers. It brings up a 3rd and 12 back to the 5. Gray on a delay. Barkley will keep again and get about 4 of that back. Prude, we have said his name quite a bit, and Underwood getting up there.
I don't know of any game that I've done recently where you see so many corners and safeties making tackles. You know, just remember that all 4 defensive linemen are in a down. They have to have at least one hand on the ground. So they're basically rushing upfield.
Aaron Horn stands deep in his own end zone. Remember, he just joined the team this week because of an injury to Tom Malone. This should be great field position for California. Sams standing back. It is high, it is short. Sams moves up, takes it on the run at the 38 to the 30. Gets to around the 25-yard line. Great field position for the Redwoods.
And that's what happens when you kick a short punt. When you kick a short punt, the coverage just runs right by you. So Sams just let him go. He didn't signal for fair catch. And that's a problem when you're running downfield as a cover guy and you're not aware of where the ball is and where the receiver is. These guys just, I mean, it's a short kick. They go right by Sams. Look at this. Sams just runs up. These guys are, all the black shirts are already by him.
Great position for California to start this drive. 1st and 10 at the New York 25. 6:41 to go in the 3rd quarter. McMahon, play action. Rice gives chase, unloads it. It is short sliding try that comes up just shy, intended for Shackelford.
Well, the thing that Mike McMahon had to do there, he runs a bootleg and he comes back to the outside. He is basically all by himself. I mean, you know, there's a little pressure from the inside, but he's got to set himself to make that throw. He tried to make about a 35-yard throw on the run going to his right. You've got to be able to sit yourself and make a turn so you can get your arm back around.
2nd and 10 at the 25. Good drop throw. Flag is thrown. Complete on the slant to Gabriel. Gabriel still on his feet. He's inside the 10 and loses the ball. Did New York get it back? They're pointing that way. Remember, though, there is a flag back on the play. Simeon Rice is there saying we've got it, but we'll have some things to sort out here.
Well, you know what I think it is? I think there's just too many guys rushing.
you're only allowed to blitz 5. These flags, two flags came out in a hurry. But
offense number 65, personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. Number 54, penalties offset. Second down.
So after all that, we'll do it again.
Yeah, and what a great play by Simeon Rice. I mean, that ball, I mean, this is something he did in the NFL for years, is stripping the quarterback with the ball. And this time, he just, when you watch him, you're going to see the roughing the quarterback. You know, unless it's head-to-head contact, they really didn't hit him that hard.
Well, it's 2nd and 10 at the 25. And Gabriel hands off to Ross. Ross finds room and gets it inside the 20. And moving in to make the tackle is Nathan Williams. We haven't heard a lot from him tonight. He was leading the team in tackles coming into this game. The former star at Murray State, where he was the All-Ohio Valley Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And on a 3rd and 3 at the 18, you see the numbers tonight. New York 3 for 9, and California doing a little worse, 2 for 7. 3rd and 3 at the 18. Remember, after the return by Sams, they took over at the 25 of New York. At great position, and they will take another timeout.
Timeout of California. Second timeout of the half.
That's 2 they burned on this drive.
Well, you know, again, let's go back to you got a young team, and if he's not sure, this is McMahon's first game. So he is really not sure. When he sees something up there, they got a play call, and he looks and he said, "This play can't work. It just can't work, and I don't have the personnel to get out of it, to go to another play." So the smartest thing that I can do, we are in field goal range right now. Let's take a timeout, burn a timeout, and then find out exactly what we're going to do. The thing that got me is when they had to change the possession, they go out on the field. They're already on the sideline for about 2 minutes. They go out on the field, and then McMahon took a timeout. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Even Denny Green was kind of shaking his head.
What a nice game for Simeon Rice. Ted Cottrell told us a couple of weeks ago, he said Simeon said he wanted to play. He came in, he ripped off about 225 pound on bench press about 18 times. He said, "I think you're ready to come back, son." And indeed he has. 3rd and 3 at the 18. Throwing complete to Gabriel at the 1. Is it a touchdown? Yes, Gabriel. Doug Gabriel in his first game hauls it in. 18-yard touchdown pass from McMahon.
Boy, you know, you really don't know how hard this throw is. And what you talk about McMahon, this is an experienced throw. He throws the ball behind the defensive guy, where the only guy that really can get the ball is Gabriel. And he's got the ball. He's looking at the ball. The defensive man is looking at Gabriel. He cuts back inside. The ball is there. He got no help from the safety. He's covering him out there by himself, basically. Now watch where the throw is. Gabriel goes back to the inside. That's experience as a receiver.
Tiller with him, battle there. They're going to review this, as you might expect. New York side, Ted Cottrell, they're thinking he was hit, and his knee was down just shy of that goal line.
And I think he has a good case.
And I think he's got a great case. That's why I was hesitant to call it, because it looked like when he was hit the first time. I will take another look at it here, Paul.
All right, look where when you see now, Gabriel goes back to the inside. Okay? The tackle is made there. Where is his knee
right
down?
There.
And see where the ball is? They're going to put this ball back on the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
This is an outstanding call by Teddy Cottrell, because he knows that it's not a touchdown. Watch here. You see the knee down, and the ball is at the 1.
He's down.
Good call. Outstanding call.
There's Tiller, Battle coming in to help out. Good eyes over there on the sideline for Ted Cottrell and those guys.
His hair got in, but the ball didn't.
We'll address the hair rule later.
Man, here I am, a guy going bald by the minute. I'm talking about somebody's hair.
Charged with a timeout.
And they put it to the 1, a 17-yard pass. No timeout charged. McMahon 3 of 4 for 48 yards in his last few passes, the last 2 possessions. He's got a little bit of a rhythm going, and certainly one here on this drive. It's 1st and goal at the 1. McMahon spins, hands off, and met and brought down at the goal line, and the ball is loose, and it looks like California has recovered it. They will stay with it, but Ross is nailed, and he gets in for the touchdown. That is a touchdown.
Well, what happened is I thought this was really dangerous, but watch where he'll extend the ball out. Take a look at his right arm. He's hit here. Then his arm comes out. Watch him put it over the goal line. Once that ball touches the goal line,
Chris has to break the plane, and that's what it did. And Mortensen was all over him, but a great play by Ross for the touchdown.
The rule is if the ball touches the goal line going in, it's a touchdown, as soon as it touches it. But if you're coming out of the end zone, the whole ball has to be out of the end zone and can't be touching the goal line, or it's a safety.
It was set up with the passing of McMahon to Gabriel, and then the second effort of Corey Ross. And Ross is able to muscle his way and reach out and put his team in front, 14-7. Great effort.
Back at AT&T Field, where the Redwoods have once again taken the lead. Great pass there, great catch. Seems like you and Mike are starting to build a rapport together, and there was a timeout called before you had that completed pass. Tell me what was said in the huddle.
Coach Cruz came there and said, somebody need to make a play. And all the receivers got together and said, we're going to make it. If we leave it up to us, we're going to do it. That's what we're here for. He brought us in here to make plays. That's why we're here. We're here to make some plays.
Well, that you did. Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Kenny, back up to you.
Thanks, Natalie. And indeed, he did make the play, and then Ross capped it off with his second touchdown of this season and his first of the game to make it 14-7.
Well, I'll tell you, you really have to be aware of where you are to stick that ball out on the goal line because everybody's going after it.
Well, and you think back to last week, too, when New York fumbled at the goal line. It's got to be in the back of the mind. And, it was close, but he just broke the play, and he got the 6. And now New York comes back on the attack. And taking it is Tyrone Gross. Gross at the 25. Nice little move. Gets out to the 30. And there is where he is brought down. And Lejeune makes the play.
One of the things I really like in just the 2 games that we have done, and you look at the officiating, Florida last week when we did the game didn't have a penalty in the entire ball game. Denny Green's team only had 2. But you look at it, these guys really pay attention. I mean, I like what the officials do. They allow them to play, and something when it's really flagrant, these guys are on top of it. I think they let the game in the control of the players.
Which is the whole purpose, I think, of some of the rules and the protection for the quarterback, and it has worked well. And fumble in the backfield. Gross, does California have it? Was Gross able to get in amongst the big bodies and take that away? I mean, beneath it all, battling is 5'7", 215-pound Tyrone Gross, the smallest man, I think, in that pileup.
Well, New York got it back.
They lose 3 yards, but they keep the ball. 2nd 13 at the 27. And Gross coming in the backfield. Barkley, the receiver. Remember, Barkley caught a touchdown pass earlier. Dropping back is great, throwing and incomplete. Intended for Steve Sanders.
Well, he had pressure coming up the middle from Ezekiel, number 44. The middle linebacker. We've seen him twice tonight putting pressure on the quarterback, and he's done an excellent job. Number 44 is Gross. So you're going to see him right on the left of your screen. But I tell you what, he got blocked right at the line of scrimmage.
Ezekiel is playing a nice game, isn't
he? Yeah, he is. It's a different football team, New York and California, with 1 game under your belt.
3rd and 13. Gray to throw, and his man stumbling. He was trying to go over the middle for tight end Ronnie Gent. Lejeune is in there amongst those trying to cover the big guy.
Ronnie Gent got knocked off his stride, and he couldn't, maintain. Take a look at him. He stumbled. Look at here. The ball is thrown. He can't even turn around. He can't get his composure back. Look, he's almost tripped and fell.
And look at Lejeune does not slow down. Making an effort on that, and so Horn will kick it away once again. .4:19 to go in the 3rd quarter. Sams moves, takes it at his 35. Outside to the 40, he's at midfield. To the 45, around the 42. That is the speed of B.J. Sams. A guy that certainly knows what to do with the ball when he gets it.
Well, I'll tell you, Abafami, Ian Badejo, number 30, just about killed somebody. Watch on the left-hand side of the screen. Here he comes. Bam!
Ian Badejo's been waiting for that, isn't he?
Yeah, he got up, did a little two-step, and it was kind of nice. You dream about shots like that, and it's a clean shot. His head is in front, and then you say to the guy laying on the ground, you got to pay attention.
Horn in there, the punter in on that to help out. Ian Badejo, the oldest guy on this team at 34 for California.
You don't have that many shots left.
And a flag's thrown.
5 yards, first down.
That flag was thrown by Terry Valenti, the female head lines person. Yeah.
She said linesman was okay with her when Ron Kruk talked to her at the start.
She's a line person now.
Okay. And we get back to more politically correct football on 1st and 15 at the 48. And Ross with it. And Ross is brought down. They're trying to pull him back there a little bit. And moving in on the tackle is Harwell. Brigham Harwell about, they list him about 350 or so.
You want to explain to me what an orso is?
Orso?
Orso is more, isn't it?
I think that's more. I would go with more. Second and 13 at the 46. McMahon drops, throws complete again to Gabriel, and the ball comes loose, incomplete.
Doug Gabriel, this ball was thrown on target, and he just got stripped. All right, here comes Gabriel across the middle. Watch this. And then Mays just reaches in, number 34, and knocks the ball away. That's an outstanding defensive play. Gabriel first of all, should have caught the ball. But look at Mays strip it. It's
Mays,
good defense.
Yeah, with an interception already tonight and another broken up pass. 3rd and 13 at the 46. Fakes a handoff, throwing, and it's underthrown. Good coverage again. He was going for the tight end, Nate Lowry. And Lowry was matched pretty much stride for stride on that one. Nathan Williams, a linebacker, getting back to help out as well.
That's another one of these throws where he's trying to throw the ball behind the linebacker. But when you looked at Williams, number 51, he makes the play. That was just outstanding coverage.
Brian Bonner standing back around his 8-yard line. Derek Frost will kick away once more. Calls fair catch, takes it at the 13. And so we get ready now for New York to go back on offense. Let's check in on the sideline with Ron.
Okay, Kenny, thank you very much. At the beginning of the game, head coach Ted Cottrell talked about last week when New York gave up 3 consecutive touchdowns at the bubble burst. The momentum changed and the guys really lost it. And you get that same type of feeling right now on the New York sidelines. A lot of guys hanging their heads. This is a very key drive to get them back into the game. Kenny?
Good point, Ron. Quinn Gray throwing complete out to the 20 and brought down immediately Thorpe. And Prude is in there again to make the tackle.
You know, it's not really that Gray doesn't have the weapons, because he has the weapons. He's got Thorpe, he's got Robinson, he's got Sanders, he's got Jamel Smith. I mean, he's got people he can throw the ball to. It's a question with him is picking out the guy that's open. And there are people open.
2nd and 2 at the 21. Gray handoff. He'll get the first down from Sapp. Ball comes loose, and California has it. And coming away with it is a guy who's been so active, Ronnie Prude. He's been in on every other tackle, it seems, and he recovers the fumble.
If there was an exit down there, Ronnie Prude might have taken it. He went all the way down and gave the ball to someone in the stands.
That little guy, don't give that up, son. Hold on to that. That is really
You bet. Ronnie Prude was happy, and he just made someone else happy.
And everybody's happy on this side of the field with California as we see Sapp here carry.
All right, Cecil Sapp. Now, see, the thing is, he's hit, and there's a defensive player underneath him. That ball just came out.
Lejeune, one of those, I believe, that got in there. Number 27.
The guy that stripped it was Thomas, number 56. He got his arm in and knocked the ball out.
And there you see Lejeune walking to the sideline. He and Thomas getting in. Prude getting the ball, and California up 14-7, 2.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter, and they've got great field position at the New York 35. And over on the New York sideline, Ron made a good point a minute ago. You just wonder if they've got to be thinking not another turnover as Ross gets it, and he is brought down by Williams, shooting up from the secondary. Nice play there by Darian Williams. We haven't heard much from this guy tonight. One of those tryout guys who made the secondary as a starter.
Yeah, there was like 1,080 guys or something that came down for a tryout before the first game of the year, and Teddy Cottrell said, I got 2 guys out of that tryout, Paul Pratt, number 37, and Darian Williams. And he said, you know what? They were good enough. I started them in the first game, and they did very well. Pratt got an interception.
It's in Williams' makeup, isn't it? His uncle Carl Richardson played for the Dolphins and the Bills. And getting the carry there is Corey Ross. And there's a flag.
I think the defenses on both of these teams are playing extremely well.
65 offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Mabry. That's a center on the hold. I mean, and the center is pretty much uncovered. He's exposed. I love offensive linemen, and they hold, and they shake their head. You know, I didn't do it. Look at, you think that's not a hold? He pulled him down by the shoulders.
It makes it 2nd and 20, and suddenly that field position still okay, but not looking great. Back to just shy of the 45. Mabry, what did Green say? Mabry met Shane Boyd, who was the starting quarterback last week. They met, they started taking some snaps. That's how quick they had to work that out. McMahon keeping it. And will try to get out of bounds, but not before Nathan Williams comes up to make another nice stop.
Well, the first thing you have to learn in the UFL as a quarterback, when you're running and you see a black shirt, get down.
Get down.
Get down.
Get out of bounds or get down. Don't hang in the middle.
Yeah, it's not worth another yard. Trust me. See it? Get down. That's a linebacker coming after you. Williams.
He picked up 9. It's 3rd and 11 at the 36.
And Dennis Green said 8 would have been all right. You didn't need that 9.
McMahon drops, steps up, some pressure, rolling to the right, rolling, throwing, and it is caught by Shackelford.
No, it hit the ground.
It hit the ground, incomplete.
And that was Terry Valenti again on the play.
One more look. Pratt on the coverage.
Look at this ball does hit.
Coming back.
It hits the ground.
Holding, 77 offense. Penalties declined, 4th down.
Holding on the play. Shackelford doing a pretty good job trying to sell that he had his left arm under there.
Yeah, it wouldn't have done any good anyway because Llewellyn was holding.
California will kick it away. And Frost once again as Bonner steps back. Stands around his own 8. 31 seconds to go in the third quarter. 14-7. The Redwoods with the lead. And there's a flag.
Offense, 5 yards, 4th down.
Okay, these kind of flags aren't bad. Another 5 yards for a kicker.
No, the only problem is that they're moving back, and now it's a 45-yard, 47-yard punt. 42-yard punt. And these guys haven't been able to kick the ball over 30 yards.
Well, for a really good kicker, it's nice. You can get the ball easier inside the 10 was going to be the point of that.
Yeah, that's right. That was nice.
A little more of a challenge perhaps now for Derek Frost, who was averaging 40 yards a kick coming into this game. He hangs it up and letting it bounce is Bonner, and it's down. Is it going to be at the 1? Yeah, they did it. Nice play by the receiver. That was Shackelford getting down there to stop it. Let's check in down the sideline with Natalie.
Well, no matter what happens at tonight's game, there is one happy little one here because his Uncle Ronnie gave him a recovered game ball. Tori, what are you going to do with this ball?
I'm going to play with my dad, and then I'm going to go home and then just do this.
He's going to do that. Sounds like he's going to keep that ball in play. Kenny?
First and 10, New York.
All right, great stuff, Natalie. Ronnie Prude handing it off. That was his nephew. Okay, so now at the 1-yard line, Gray is backed up, and we'll just try to inch forward, just get a little breathing room to bring up second down. Picks up a couple, 2nd and 8 out to the 3. And the final second ticks off. That is the end of the third quarter. New York has still 97 yards to go to try to catch up. The Redwoods in their home opener with the lead, 14-7. More when we come back live to San Francisco on HD Nets.
I'm in big trouble if they do. California Redwoods still up here in AT&T Field, and there are a lot of firsts in the UFL, including the first woman head linesman. Terry, how's it going?
Hi, Natalie. It's going great. It's a good workout, and I'm having fun.
Hey, that's what it's all about. Kenny Paul, up to you.
Made a big call, a touchdown call too down there, and Larry Upson, a man who's over it all, over all the officials, have done a good job up here with us. I guess you got to be proud of all your men and women so far, the way they've done it, Larry. And we get back to action as we start the fourth quarter. 2nd and 8 at the 3. New York backed up. And they'll keep it on the ground again, get a little breathing room and get out close to the first down. And that's a nice carry by Cecil Sapp. He has been a workhorse for them in the past, and they haven't really used him as much here. But then again, there was the fumble on the last series for New York.
Yeah, they don't like to use you as much when you're fumbling on football.
You know, and you wondered then they hadn't been using him as much, and then they started to, and then he fumbled. So as Bennett limps a little to the sideline.
But again, you know, you look at this game here, and the defenses are always pretty much ahead of the offenses. And in this game, it's really showing up.
The Sentinels talk about rushing. They only have 53 yards rushing in this game. On 3rd and 1, and the pass is just behind Corin Robinson. Robinson with 3 catches, all those back in the first half, and so 4th and 4, and they will have to kick it away. They'll have to hope for a good kicker. California's going to have some really nice field position here. You figure either way, B.J. Sams standing back right around his own 46 as Frost will boot it.
I remember we were talking to Denny Green earlier this week, and we asked him about B.J. Sams. I said, will he play any other position other than returner? He said, not on your life.
That's Horn with it. Horn has trouble. Big rush. Someone got a hand on it, and the ball is going to come to rest around the 32. It looked like Joe West might have gotten in there. Remember, Horn is punting for the first time. And he was under pressure after the bobble. I don't know if anybody got a hand on it or not. We'll take another look at it here. But either way, he got it off to the side, and it's a bad kick, obviously.
Yeah, nobody touched it.
West got in for pressure.
Yeah, he saw the pressure coming, so he had to pull back on the ball, and he hit it straight up in the air. First of all, he dropped the ball.
An outstanding field position now for California. They take over at the 31. On about a 20-yard punt. On the reverse, Gabriel. Gabriel shakes free, cuts down inside the 24 before Fincher brings him down.
Well, Darian Williams just knows what it feels like to get faked out. Watch this. Boom, boom. 2 steps. They got an arm out, but Gabriel put a move on him. And you're sitting there flat-footed, and you got to make an open field tackle. You got to always remember that guy knows exactly where he's going. You don't.
7 on that. 2nd and 3 at the 24. Lowry tight end on the right. On the ground. Oh, nice move by Ross. He spins away, just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage and avoids about a loss of 4 or 5 on that. And Ryan Wallace was right there.
Boy, I just thought that Ryan Wallace was just depleted. I mean, he had a clear shot at Corey Ross. And watch this. I mean, this is the perfect hit, except he didn't wrap him up. And Ross just showed you a little bit of his strength.
Ross out of Nebraska, where he was a co-captain, 2 years with the Ravens. Remember last week he had problems. He cramped up. Dennis Green was telling us about it. He wanted him fresher in the second half. So far he's been that way on 3rd and 5. They'll stay on the ground with John David Washington, his second carry, and Ryan Wallace shoots in to bring him down.
I'll tell you, the linebackers in this game on both sides have been very active.
So on 4th down, Parker Douglas, who is 1 for 1 on field goals this year, his long being the 26, will attempt this one about 42 yards. Kick is up. And it is good. The longest kick for Douglas. And it's now a 17-7 lead for California. They've increased it by 2 scores. We'll see if New York can respond.
This telecast is authorized by the United Football League. Any rebroadcast or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the UFL is prohibited.
You see that beautiful sight. That's why there's so many songs written about San Francisco. So many stories about San Francisco as you look through the Golden Gate Bridge and at the city. Remember, you can purchase individual tickets for UFL games. Visit www.ufl-football.com. Group tickets, call 877-UFL-2009. And the man who just kicked a field goal, his personal best, Douglas, is ready to kick off. Standing back is Barkley and Gross. A 17-7 lead, biggest of the night for California. And Barkley moves up to the 20, tripped up, leans forward to about the 22, and Shackelford is in on the tackle. So we talked about the running game, how important that is. And the Sentinels need to get some running going here. Only 53 yards in the game. Let's check in on their sideline with Ron.
Kenny, I had head coach Ted Cottrell He was just telling his offense what a key series this is, but you know, this is live TV. He had to get back to doing what he does, and that's coaching.
What? Didn't have time for an interview? Down 17-7?
Apparently not. Unbelievable.
Wow. Thanks, Ron. 1st and 10 at the 23. Gray back, pumps, fires, and it's incomplete, and we have a flag. Intended for Jamel Smith.
Go! Go! Come on!
Josh Lay in on the coverage.
I'll tell you one thing, that Quinn Gray, he will stand in that pocket. He will wait and wait and wait.
He is fearless.
He really is. It's against New York, and they're refusing the penalty.
Number 12 on the offense was illegally downfield. It was covered up by an outside receiver. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's very simple. What happened is Steve Sanders was split out, but the receiver outside of him was on the line of scrimmage, and so was Sanders. So once you covered up, being covered up on the line of scrimmage, that means you can't leave the line of scrimmage. You can't go down for a pass.
And the main thing there is he got away from Jason Stewart, did Quinn Gray.
Did he just step on his chest?
I think he did. It's going to be 1st and 15, ball back at the 18. Gray, good drop, steps up, pressure on, and he goes down, but is able to get it away. And that was Chris Cooper who got into Gray, and remember the grounding rule. As long as you get it back to the line of scrimmage or beyond, it is not intentional grounding.
But he did not get it back to the line of scrimmage, apparently, because they just threw the flag, intentional grounding.
Offense, that's a 10-yard penalty.
It had to make it back to the 18. And I think that's what Gray's saying there. Get to the 18. That's where it needs to be.
All right, he's got about a 6-yard drop, and he's hit right there. The ball, now where is the ball? The ball is down. It never did get back to the line of scrimmage.
It's been determined that the ball did get back to the line of scrimmage. Therefore, there's no foul on the play.
Well, the line of scrimmage
is right at the 18. That's where the ball's marked. That's the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, but the ball hit on the 16. That's not the line of scrimmage. It didn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Break perhaps for Gray on 2nd and 15 at the 18. And again, the pressure on, Gray firing, and overshoots his man as he had everyone coming at him. A lot of pressure for Gray, hanging in as best he can right now, but Cooper among those putting on the pressure.
I'll tell you what, they're not even slowing these guys down now. They're all just teeing off and heading for the quarterback because they know, they've got to make up 10 points somewhere. And the defensive linemen, they're not even thinking run. And when you got 4 guys down in a position and you know they're coming, you don't have that much time. You better keep a fullback in.
New York 0 for 4 on 3rd downs in this half. It's now 3rd and 15. They'll try it on the ground. That surprises no one. Sapp is brought down by Herbert. And Quating in on the tackle.
I just, we saw the beginning of the game when Quinn Gray had a tough time. Nothing has been going right offensively for New York in this second half.
Aaron Horn had some problems the last time handling this punt and kicked it about 20 yards.
Well, the guys say they only pay you to do 2 things. Catch the ball when they center it to you and kick it. That's the second thing.
It sounds easy. Sounds easy.
Just keep your eye on the ball. Bang. There you go.
That's a good comeback there for Horn. Sam settles under it, takes it, and goes down just about on the spot. Hogue is there for the tackle. California with the lead and the ball when we come back. And here in San Francisco, 17-7, California leads New York. 20 years ago to the day, it happened. There's two greats, Joe Morgan and Willie Mays, and the Giants and the A's in the Bay Area series. And there's Mark McGuire explaining what had happened, because what had happened at 5:04 Pacific time, about a 7-point earthquake, the largest since 1906 in San Francisco. Who will ever forget these pictures? Remember watching the game and Al Michaels getting ready to announce the World Series start between the Giants and the A's, and then the quake hit. And people were just riveted. Daryl Ewald, our executive producer, was living here at the time, was telling us about how all that unfolded over a couple of hours or so. We get back to action. Running and still going is Corey Ross as he rips off a very nice run here for California into New York territory.
Boy, that really is some solid running. Corey Ross has had a magnificent evening. Just take a look at the offensive lineman. Not, a little bit of holding, but Corey Ross has got outstanding feet and great vision.
21 yards on that carry for Ross, who's having his best night. He's hit the century mark now with that carry. 9:45 to go. They'll keep it on the ground. Why not? That's where he's doing a lot of damage. And they'll pick up a couple of more yards before Robinson brings him down.
I was talking to you about his feet, what great feet this guy has in vision. On that last play, he picks up 2 yards, okay? But when you look at what he did on the run, here's the defensive lineman driving the offensive lineman back into him. Watch his movement here. Boom to the outside, right back in the inside in the hole, and picks up 2 yards, which could easily have been a loss.
And Robinson makes the tackle there on Ross. It is 2nd and 8 at the 41. Play action. McMahon looking. Now under pressure. Steps up. Unloads wisely on that.
Yeah, there's the classic example we're talking about. McMahon, he's looking. He's, well, something had. But you know what? You did the right thing. He's got a chance to throw the ball away. It's 3rd and 8. But, you've got the ball moving. Don't do something stupid. And you're allowed to throw the ball away as long as it gets back to the line of scrimmage. There doesn't have to be anybody there.
Ingle Martin, meanwhile, warming up. We're at the baseball park. Maybe he could go down and get in the bullpen. But Ingle Martin warming up. Will we see him on the next offensive series for New York in place of Quinn Gray? That is a question as we go to 3rd and 8 at the 41. McMahon drops, throws it over the middle. Gabriel has it, 1st down inside the 30. Doug Gabriel, wow, that's an acquisition in his first game. He continues to come up big.
Boy, isn't it nice to really pick up. He's an experienced football player, and he's got outstanding moves. But the neat part about him, we saw him on the adjustment for the long gain earlier in the game. But just take a look at this guy. Total concentration on the ball. The ball is the most important thing. You cannot run with it until you catch it.
They pick up 15, 1st and 10 down at the 27. And Gabriel with 6 catches in the game. Back on the ground, and some more yards for Corey Ross, going over 100. We talked about balance. Each coach has talked about that. Denny Green especially, his offense. He worked for one of the legends with Bill Walsh, obviously, and with the 49ers where he won a Super Bowl. Before that was Stanford, and talked about you got to have that balance. And kind of interesting, he got the pass almost set up his run a little bit if it works that way at times.
Well, and you look at it, exactly what you're talking about is they have 137 yards rushing and 149 yards passing, and that is perfect.
Because they had no passing threat. They've already gone well past what they did in the first game, so everybody could concentrate on the run. And this way it's kind of been reversed. It's worked out, and Ross has a 100-yard game, and Ross is going to pick up a couple more yards, sweeping out wide to the right.
The smart thing that Ross just did, I'm talking about a heads-up player here. We saw him his moves, reading blocks and everything, but here's Ross going to the outside. He sees the sideline coming, he gets down. He's going to take the hit, but he keeps the clock moving. Watch him here. Just see him, he goes to the outside, all right? There may be a small hole out there, but then he sees the sideline. Watch this. He'll go down, stay in bounds, and keep the clock going.
Ross, you know, like most of these guys, is a great high school player, but he was so good he played in the first U.S. Army All-American Bowl 9 years ago. Now it's become very popular when guys declare what college they're going to, and he declared he was going to play for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. And here he goes, a nice little hesitation. He picks up the first down and is spun around out of bounds. Good carry again by Corey Ross.
You know, it's amazing, though, when you're running well and they're blocking for you. This offensive line, look at these guys get to the outside. Number 77, that's Llewellyn, the left tackle out in front getting a block. But how you don't get tired when you're winning and you're getting over 100 yards, you don't want to come out. Hey, don't bother me. I'm fine.
It is a different story for this team, California, that jumped out to a 14-3 lead against Vegas last week, and they were just blown out in the second half. They'll stay on the ground to Ross. Ross to the 10-yard line.
And that offensive line I'm talking about, left tackle Llewellyn, the left guard Edwards, Mabry as the center, Isaiah Ross is the right guard, and Todd Williams is the tackle. These are big men, and they've been playing all night long, but the weather is cool. They're just having a good time. When you can run the ball as well as they're running the ball tonight, this makes not only the running back happy, the coach happy, but that offensive line very happy.
You got a big look at number 74, big man Steve Edwards, former high school teammate of Donovan McNabb when they were at Mount Carmel High, and handoff is to John David Washington, who spins down close to the 5-yard line. Yeah, Edwards, he was underclassman. McNabb was the big star. And of course, McNabb, we know, going on to Syracuse. Edwards went on to Central Florida. Two good players coming out of that school in a short period of time.
And the one thing about this offensive line, too, is, Kenny, is that when they're all over 300 pounds, and they're really, this is like, the fifth week that they've played together. And the more they play together, the more you understand the guy next to you. And these guys, just watch them now because you have a good runner and Ross behind you. They're going to get better and better and better every week.
It's 3rd and 3. And a first down. Down to the 2. It's Washington once again. Washington, kind of typical, a lot of guys. He was undrafted free agent signee of the Rams. He was sent to play in Germany and NFL Europe, and the former Morehouse College star carries that down to the 2.
Isn't it amazing? You look at the backs for California. Ross is 5'6", Washington's 5'9". These are not really big, tall guys, but they can unload on you.
They're eating the clock. It's just over 4 minutes to go in this game. Here it is. Handoff left side, and they will lose about a yard. Well, Corey Ross is saying the ball's loose, New York. Is it? Coming out of there with it is David Lofton. If that's a familiar football name, well, his dad, James, one of the great receivers.
And isn't that the way it goes, though? His father was one of the greatest receivers in the game, and he's a defensive back.
Defense number 93. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Well, they'll move it a little closer on that penalty. California 83 yards rushing in the second half compared to 30 for New York, and doing the bulk of the work is Corey Ross. So 1st and goal just at the 1. Handoff, and stop is Washington trying to leap up, and it's going to be met by Harwell.
I'm sorry, but this got to be frightening. Look, I'm diving in. I'm going to get in the end zone. Wrong. Harwell just nailed him in the back with his helmet. Number 56 was also in there. And Harwell, you know, you get these guys. Mortensen is 56, is the guy that hits him in the back. But you get these guys, you want to jump up in the air, and you got your offensive line, they're down on the ground. You're going to get hammered.
2nd and goal at the 1. Again on the ground. Touchdown, Washington. That time John David gets in. John David Washington slicing through on the left side. And it's all going well for Dennis Green and company now.
What a beautiful shot. You get a chance to see the hole. And Mortensen, number 56, is a linebacker. He never even made contact to Washington until Washington was already in the end zone.
And maybe somewhere tonight, a two-time Academy Award winner is applauding one John David Washington's touchdown run. Denzel, his father, who used to travel around watching his team in Morehouse College when his son was a great runner back there.
You think he isn't proud tonight?
I bet he is. There's Washington with the touchdown. One more look at it. Redwoods in total control 24/7.
Back in San Francisco, where Californians in complete control, 24-7, Redwoods over the Sentinels. And guys, despite Ted Cottrell telling us yesterday that quarterback Quinn Gray is his guy and he doesn't want to have one of those quarterback controversies, number 3, Ingle Martin, is going into the game, the former Chief and Denver Bronco. Back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Ron. So Gray becomes a spectator. Last week in the loss, no offense hardly at all in the second half, especially on the ground for New York. They mustered only 65 yards in total offense last week, around 43 yards in offense this week here in the second half.
But defensively, they played for 3 quarters. They played pretty well and got no help from the offense. And you can, I mean, these guys were out there. Teddy Cottrell was telling us this week, he said, our defense was on the field down in Florida for 90 plays, or 60 plays.
Of about 67, it was amazing.
Yeah, he said, you just can't be on the field that long.
Barkley takes it up the middle to around the 25. And while no one likes to point fingers, you have to wonder when the defense is doing their job and they say, come on, offense, can you get us something? And nothing happens, and you got to keep going back and dealing with it.
Well, if you point fingers at this early stage of their career in this league, you're going to be pointing a finger at the television set sitting at home.
As we look at Ingle Martin out of Furman originally, and played some with the Packers, Titans. He was one of those guys that was kind of on some practice squads after being drafted in the 6th round by the Packers, and then to the Titans, to Kansas City, to Denver. You kind of get the idea. And Ryan Hogue is in as receiver as well. Martin goes right to the air and intended for Hogue, and it's incomplete. You just wonder everywhere now if they're going to be looking at Dennis Green going, wow, let's see. He made a big change when he put Mike McMahon in at quarterback. He brought in 8 new guys at once, started 2 of them, Bass in the secondary, and then a surprise start with Gabriel, who's become a prime receiver. We saw Holt a little bit, although no catches tonight. So this guy's willing to shake it up that quickly. Everybody better come every game.
Yeah, and the one thing that's a little disappointing, Corin Robinson, number 19, had a pretty good first quarter, and then he disappeared.
As did Carfonzo Thorpe, who was their leading receiver last week with 2 big catches and 4 catches total, and had the touchdown, and kind of also was missing in action tonight.
Yeah, and you can't be critical of Ingle Martin either. I mean, here's a guy that has been sitting on the bench for 3 hours tonight. I mean, he warmed up before the game, and he warmed up a little bit at halftime. Then he gave him a few shots on the last series of downs to warm up. But here's a guy that really hasn't played. I mean, when you're practicing every day, the starting quarterback, which was Quinn Gray, gets all the snaps. So here's a guy coming in, and the defense is just going after in the pass rush, and you're asking him to put the ball on the money.
And
that
3rd
was a
and
pretty
10,
good shot.
he did put it on the money, and there is Thorpe. Remember him, Carfonzo Thorpe makes the catch.
They've had guys open. They've never finished anything. They moved the ball maybe 30 yards at a time, but then everything kind of broke down. The interceptions, the fumbles. It just, nothing was really put together. Now it's 4th down, 2 minutes and counting.
4th and 2 at their own 33, and they're going for it. Martin toss and incomplete. 2:26 to go in this one. 24-7. Yeah, it's been a rough night for Teddy Cottrell and company. And welcome back to San Francisco. Tied up at halftime. It was a back-and-forth game, and it's been all California in the second half. Over 308 total yards now for the Redwoods in this game. A very impressive, strong second half for them as they are about to go 1-1. And Mike McMahon, nice debut. Hadn't played in 2 years. He gets the start tonight for the Redwoods. And into the game is Joel Filani, number 17, who was going in motion there. He was one of these guys that was brought in this week, one of the many receivers, former star at Texas Tech. As you see, John David Washington, who had a touchdown a few minutes ago, stay in there and take the carry.
Well, you said it when we were in a break. Fear is a great motivating factor. When you're afraid for your job, pal, you're going to play.
And we come to the 2-minute warning. I wonder if there'll be some fear on the New York sideline. They're about to go 0-2. No fear for Denny Green tonight. 2 minutes to go. There's a great-looking shot here at from the, I think that's McCovey Cove, isn't it? It's the name, of course, for the great Willie McCovey. And, you know, this is the 20th anniversary of the earthquake out here. And the man that shook it up, though, tonight is Dennis Green.
Yeah, he really did. He shook up his team, and I think they did just about everything he asked them to do.
They will stay on the ground on 2nd and 10, and it's Washington carrying once again.
You know, this may be a new league, but you've got experienced coaches throughout this league. Jim Fossil, Jim Haslett, Denny Green, Teddy Cottrell, and these guys are no-nonsense guys. I mean, you know, Teddy's kind of a mild guy, and you think, you know, like, but I tell you, this eats at him because he knows he's got a young team. Dennis Green knows he's got a young team, and they don't put a whole lot on their plate. Kenny, they kind of simplify it for him, you know, because they haven't had him for what, 5 weeks total, and so they want to see if these guys can just acclimate themselves to just the basics of what they have, and hoping that they can put it all together. They get inspiration. Simeon Rice is a guy for New York that these young guys look up to, and they try to emulate him. We saw him hustle tonight, and this guy does hustle. I mean, you know, and you may see him smiling now, but he takes this personally. They all should, and they do.
And a quick pass and a completion to Shackelford on 3rd and 5.
Well, this thing's right on the marker.
Yeah.
This
Breck comes up to make the tackle.
That's a first down.
They got a first down here. Clock going with 1:15 to go.
A couple of knees ought to do it.
I think it's about time that'll happen.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, forever they'll have a guy that drops back about 15 to 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, won't they?
That's about the only thing I could do now. Just kind of stand back there 40 yards from the line.
Because you never know when Herm Edwards will sneak in on the defense. You know?
If you could hire me just to do that, I could stand back about 30 yards from the point of play and just make sure I'm out of here.
Well, we can chuckle a little bit up here. All smiles for Dennis Green, but some probably real concerns now for Ted Cottrell and company as New York is going to 0-2. And California bouncing right back and really shaking things up with their lineup changes to the good, going 1-1. They're tied with Vegas, just a game behind the 2-0 Tuskers from Florida. And that's the game, 24-7. The Redwoods coming back in impressive fashion tonight. They discovered they do have a balanced offense. 308 total yards, 159 on the ground, 149 on the passing. You don't get more balance than that, hardly.
No, and I'll tell you what, I think that tribute to Dennis Green is making a quarterback change. He had a quarterback. The quarterback didn't produce one. Said, I got another one sitting on the ground on the bench, Mike McMahon, and she said, you know what, I'm going to give you a chance, son. Put you out there. And the thing about it is, it was so impressive about Mike McMahon is the fact that he put new guys out there with him. He only had one receiver from the old core.
And Corey Ross had opened things up for him. He has his first 100-yard rushing game and got a touchdown as well. And let's go down to Natalie with the winning coach.
He said a win's a win no matter how it happened, but what was the key in tonight's game?
Well, I thought we played real well defensively. I mean, we were a little bit banged up, but the guys played hard. We got some turnovers. The rhythm offensively was okay. We have a lot of young players, but hopefully it will be better each week as we go on and play. But I think it was great to be undefeated at home. That's the key thing, to play in front of the home crowd, to win the first game, and next week we try to storm into Florida.
You keep talking about the young players on your team. Who were you the most surprised with that stepped up tonight?
Well, I think Corey Ross is really a terrific back. As I said, if he was healthy the whole game against Las Vegas, I think we would have made it interesting because he's a terrific player. I think that by adding Doug Gabriel, he can make big plays. Our offensive line was really solid. And then defensively, I mean, we fly around. We're very fast defensively. Guys like Robert Herbert can make a lot of plays and the rest of the guys. So defensively, we have really improved a lot.
Last thing, you always talked about urgency. You wanted to see a sense of urgency with your team. Did you see it?
We absolutely did. I think it showed up in special teams. It seemed like we won the battle on offense, defense, and special teams, and that's what urgency is all about.
Thank you very much, Coach.
You bet.
Going to go ahead and send it over to Ron with one of New York's players. Ron.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. Chris Barclay, you get the start tonight. The offense just didn't seem to get in sync. What did their defense do to limit your running game?
I think it was more so that we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a lot. We made a lot of mistakes. We didn't execute like we should have. They played us well. They had a good scheme. They loaded the box up on us. They knew we wanted to run the ball. That's kind of our identity. When we came into this game, it was a game plan. We wanted to run the ball and set the tone from that point and kind of branch out. But they loaded the box up, and we never really got a rhythm, as an offense, and that's important.
Well, you guys definitely were on the sidelines for a long time. The defense was on the field for most of that game. Personally, for you, you get the opportunity tonight to play. And what does this opportunity in the UFL mean to you?
It's a unique opportunity for a guy like myself. A lot of us have been in the NFL and played in the NFL and had opportunities to make plays. And this is just a time for everyone, guys like myself, to be able to get some good film and put some good things on film out there and show the NFL and the personnel there that we can play ball. And there's some good guys over here. And there's a lot of talent.
Very good, Chris. Thank you so much for the time. We'll see you next week. Natalie, back over to you.
Thanks, Ron. I'm now with the winning QB, Mike McMahon. Mike, what were your thoughts on your offense tonight?
We did some good things, and we did, some bad things. I got to make some corrections. I turned the ball over twice. Can't have that once in the red zone. And but the good thing was we got the win, and that's one in a row so far.
So moving forward, what corrections are you going to need to make?
Well, just clean up the sloppiness. A couple of times. It was just sloppy. You just got to calm down, settle things down in the pocket. And, in the passing game, we did some good things, but we left a lot out there. And, we'd like to get back and get on the right page there.
Well, like your coach said, a win is a win. California now 1-1. Kenny, up to you.
All right, thank you, Natalie. As we talked about at the very start of this show, it was a bold move for Dennis Green. He was going to come out with a new quarterback tonight. He brought in 8 new players and started 2 of them. So wholesale changes, and it paid off for him, particularly with Martin. A very solid performance, couple of back-to-back interceptions, some miscues, but he bounced right back.
Yeah, when you listen to Dennis, it's almost like, well, okay, we made some mistakes and we won the football game. But I guarantee he's very proud of this football team because they just did not look good a week ago. They didn't. I mean, they never finished anything. He got so frustrated with his quarterback because the quarterback didn't do anything for him, Boyd, that you make a change at quarterback in a new league, plus bringing in 8 new players, but he did have that offensive line and that defensive line. The defense played solid. The offensive line played really good, and the special teams were outstanding. That's what I liked about him. He made a change, and he stayed with it, and it produced.
He talked about balance and how important it is, especially for a guy so offensive-centered as Green has been throughout his college and pro career. And in this case, you run to set up the pass usually, but he had to bring in a passer to get that ground game opened up, and Corey Ross responded with a 100-yard game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is the most encouraging thing about his football team tonight. They were balanced on passing game and the running game, and I think he is very proud, again, of that offensive line. The job that they did so that Ross could run for over 100 yards was just sensational.
A balanced attack tonight for California. It was tied up at 7 at intermission, but the second half was all California. We'll be back to wrap it up when we come back to San Francisco. Yeah, they want to get Ross's autograph tonight. Big night for Corey and the gang. They win it easily. California wins 24-7, all California in the second half. Now, we talked about the Redwoods. Dennis Green made changes. Paul, as we get ready to look down the road for New York, still 5 more regular season games to go. Some big changes needed for Cottrell's team, obviously.
Well, New York and Teddy Cottrell, they have a week off. They have a bye. And I think Teddy realizes once he looks at the film with this football game, he's going to realize there's got to be some changes made. There've got to be some other guys that really want to play because there are a lot of guys standing around tonight.
2-0 in the league, the Florida Tuskers, as they defeated Las Vegas earlier this week. But now Vegas, a team that rallied to blow out California, well, a week later, there they are, dead even in second place at 1-1 at the moment. And New York 0-2, still 5 regular season games to go leading up to the championship game around Thanksgiving weekend. So it'll be very interesting. Remember to keep it here for HDNet coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll be back in Florida to see those Tuskers in action. Thank you for being with us tonight. Big night for California. They did shake it up, did Dennis Green and company. A new quarterback, new players coming in, and fireworks started early with the introduction of the players, and then they took charge in a very balanced attack. McMahon and company on the move. And coming back was New York, but it was the rest of the way California. Darrell Ewald, our executive producer, directed by Hank Lena. Great job. Bo Vonsakoon, Chris Markwell coordinates everything for us. Mike and Ruben on graphics. Our engineering crew coming to a town near you. Dan, Jeff, and Andy. Be sure to tune in on Friday, October 30th. HDNet travels to Florida. The Tuskers host the Las Vegas Locos. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern. For my broadcast partners, Paul McGuire, Ron Kruk, and Natalie Taylor, I'm Kenny Rice. So long from San Francisco. Final score, Redwoods 24, Sentinels 7.